Okay, good evening, everyone. We're going to call the December 21st, 2023 council meeting to order. Madam Clerk.
Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. Councilman Asbill.
Present.
Councilman Buddy.
Present.
Councilman Chatelain.
Present.
Councilman Johnston.
Present.
Councilman Ricks.
Present.
Mayor Baudier.
Present.
Police Chief LaPree. Fire Chief St. Cyr. Finance Director Todd Turnion. Present. City Attorney Scott Stansbury is absent. Myself, Carrie Hughes, clerk, is present. Mayor's announcements.
Scott Stansbury can't be here tonight. He's having some little bit of a family issue tonight, so it's pretty serious too. If we can keep him in our prayers, that'd be incredible. And Mayor, I'll finish my announcements and presentations at the end. We can move on.
Mr. Mayor, I move to amend agenda as proposed ordinance 2023-41 to first readings.
We have a motion by Councilman Asbill. We'll now open for public hearing to add proposed ordinance number 2023-41. Anyone come and speak for or against that podium, please come forward. No one coming forward. We'll now close public hearing. We have a second by Councilman Johnston. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Agenda is amended.
I make a motion, make amendment to ordinance 2023-40, first reading on the agenda tonight.
We have a
Second.
motion by Paul Johnson. We'll open for public hearing. When you want to come speak forth on proposed ordinance number 2023-40 being added to the agenda for first reading. No one coming forward. We'll now close public hearing. We have a second by Councilman Asbill. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. 2023-40 is added to the agenda. Madam
Mayor.
Clerk. Go.
One more. Move to make an amendment to the agenda to move ordinance number 2023-34 to first under ordinances for approval.
So do you know what the ordinance is preceding? I mean, the one you wanted to go above?
Yeah, preceding 2023-28.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill. We'll now open for public hearing. Anyone want to come forward to speak about moving proposed ordinance number 2023-34 ahead of 2023-28? Anyone come and speak for or against? No one coming forward. We'll now close public hearing. We have a motion by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman...
Wait. Let's talk about it. There's a lot on the agenda, and 2023-34 may take all night. So I think we ought to,
The Halsey Drive drainage study?
I'm sorry, 2023-34?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's the ARPA funds. Okay, and you want to move it to where, Councilman?
I want to move it to ordinances for approval number 1, because I think we're going to have people, citizens here for that, and if they don't want to sit through the budget, I don't want them to have to sit through the budget.
I'm fine with it. Thank you for the clarification.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so we have a motion by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Buddy. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Is that it for amendments?
For now.
Madam Clerk, special
now.
presentations.
Special presentation number 1, Axon body cameras and tasers.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ashley Hickman, and I am from Axon Technologies. We're a company based out of Scottsdale, Arizona, where our manufacturing facility is, as well as our customer support center. We currently support neighboring agencies for their body cameras and tasers, such as Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office, Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office, New Orleans Police Department, the levy districts, both Jefferson and Orleans, as well as the Harborport Police. We have a proposal put in front of the council today to equip Harahan Police Department with new, less lethal technology, Axon Body 4 body cameras, as well as virtual reality training for the taser weapons. And I am here to answer any questions that you might have.
The question I have is that it's going to cost, Chief, you had mentioned the $280,000 January. Is that a grant?
Yeah, that was funding that we received from Senator Talbert and from Representative Big John Ilg. That funds are there to purchase the equipment. What I've asked Ashley here tonight for, there is a reoccurring cost for the licensing, the evidence.com, the replacement cartridges for the tasers, for training each year. So I thought to keep everybody on the same page, make sure everybody knows what's going on, I'd ask her to come in, and if y'all have any questions, she's here to answer those questions. But This technology is going to give us more transparency. That's what everybody wants. So this is where the industry is going. There is another possible cost. I'm working with the district attorney's office now. We may not need to purchase a couple of the items, the transcribing portion. These body cams will be able to transcribe a statement taken on the scene. We'll be able to transcribe it. There's also a tagging mechanism. If 4 or 5 officers are on the same scene, all of those body cams will be tagged together. So it'll become one case. But there is a cost reoccurring that's not paid for by the state grant to purchase. The first year cost is included in there.
Is
The
that the
evidence-
$29,000 a month, a year?
That would be the reoccurring.
Oh,
It's
that's-
roughly around $30,000 a year.
That's a good buy.
That pays for the licensings for each camera. It pays for the cartridges, the training, and the evidence.com, which is crucial. So I'm working with the DA's office now. We may not need to purchase the transcribing and the tagging because the DA is also working with Axon on the prosecution side of their program. And if they're able to do that, we'll be able to piggyback with them. We can send them anything that needs to be transcribed through evidence.com. They can transcribe it for us, and that'll save us almost $13,000. If we had to purchase it ourselves, this number would be more like $42,000 if we're not able to piggyback with the DA's office. But I'm hoping and confident we will be able to
sounds
to
good
keep
to
that cost down.
This also includes our storage fee, correct?
Yeah, so to dig into the annual recurring costs, there's a few components of that. The first one, just like you mentioned, is the cartridges. So the way that police departments normally purchase less lethal weapons like tasers, they buy the handle themselves, and then over the next 5 years, they would buy cartridges as they need them for training for every officer in order to be certified, and then for duty cartridges. If there is a deployment, they have to buy that as well. What this plan would include is an annual allocation at today's pricing, locked in over the next 5-year period for any duty cartridges. So if they have a deployment in the line of duty, we will send them for free a replacement cartridge, and annual trading, so they're not having to come back and ask for additional funds in order to get their officers certified every year. So it builds all of that in. The other important piece that is built into the annual recurring cost is hardware refreshes. It's built in under the umbrella of a warranty, but what that means is that the agency will be protected and future-proofed. So at the 2.5 and the 5-year mark, we will send them brand-new cameras. We all have iPhones or smartphones in our pocket. The battery starts dying on us a little faster, not lasting a full shift. These guys are on the road for 12, 13 hours a day. We want to make sure that they have a camera that's going to last all day. That's built into this price. So again, 2.5, 5 years from now, they're not having to come back and ask for an additional capital expense.
What does the initial grant cost cover? Is that body cameras for the whole force and additional? Yeah, 32.
That's for 32
Is it on here?
cameras. Yes, the whole package is on there. We originally looked at getting 42, so we'd have enough for each reserve officer. But with the funding we got, we had to cut that back, and we'll have to designate a couple for the reserve division. They'll have to share them, if you will.
Got it.
But we cut it back from the 42 to 32 to make it fit that number that we got from the state.
So all of the hardware is front-loaded to the beginning in order to have the funding source pay for it, and it's just those recurring charges that are spread throughout the remaining 4 years for the city.
So I'm looking at the proposal here that down at the bottom under the payment summary starts out with $280,000.
Yep.
Is that for cameras, or you mentioned tasers for cartridges? That may have just been by way of example, but
Yes.
tasers included in here?
Exactly. So it's going to be the hardware for the cameras themselves, as well as for the taser energy weapons, which the taser energy weapon that they will be utilizing will be our Taser 10. This is a magazine, fully inert, nothing that could fire in here. That would be also included in order to get the program up and running. It's more in that first year because we're not financing it over the life of the contract. We're just paying that all up front.
So $280,000 up front to you guys from the city. The $29,000, we talked about what it includes, and to help me get my arms around it, what type of cost might we incur on a recurring basis not included in the $29,000? What is out
Are there
there?
any other costs that will come up on a recurring basis not in 29?
Yeah.
Gun breaks or anything like
The
that.
$29,000 covers a lot, but
Yeah.
does it cover everything?
So the most common reasons why there might be additional costs later on is first and foremost growth. So let's say growth, so let's say you hire more officers. You're gonna have to get more equipment, which is going to be a part of that. If anything breaks or is busted, you will get an automatic replacement sent. That includes user error, so it gets run over with the cruiser, it takes a swim, all of that is going to be covered. The other component, just like Chief mentioned, is as you get used to the program, if there's anything that you feel like would make it work more efficiently, save more time, there's lots of software add-ons that other departments use, but what you guys have in front of you today is an all-encompassing program that would give them licenses, storage, cameras, the hardware refreshes, a TASER program, and all training included.
So Chief, just to be certain, for January 2024, you need no funding from this council, right? That's all
That's
coming from
correct.
state
It's coming
funds?
from the state
So the
grants.
$30,000 you would
Wouldn't
need
start till next
to
year.
the next January, got it.
So the 280 is fully covered. You mentioned the $240,000 grant. There's another grant that's going to add to that to cover the 280?
We have the funding. We had, originally, there was 80,000 for LPR cameras. Well, that was only enough for 5 vehicles. Well, there's a camera also attached to that that would go in the backseat of a unit. Well, we can't put it in just 5 cars because then I'm going to have problems with attorneys saying, well, why you put my client in the car without the camera? So we had the state reallocate the 80,000 to put it with the
The 240?
240, and that's how we come up with the 280. So they
So you have
repositioned that money.
320,000 available, 240 plus 80?
No. We had, let me see where my original numbers were. It was the 80,000. We had the 108,000. We had 108,000 for the body cams. Well, then we got the 80,000 reallocated to put it towards the body cams because we didn't go with the LPRs.
So that's 188,000.
So we ended up, the total was the 280 that we got. It was 440 total from the state.
I'm sorry.
But 150,000 of that went to vehicles.
You've got $280,000 available in
Correct.
grant money.
Correct.
Okay, that's what I was just trying to
Yeah.
get at. I know you got a lot of moving parts there. So we can pay the upfront cost with grant money. And then the $29,000, $30,000 a year is locked in for
The next
4
4
more
years.
years.
It's a 5-year contract.
I'm on board, Chief. I think it's a good deal.
I'm on board.
And 2 features that Chief and I discussed that I really like. One, once the lights click on in the car, the camera automatically goes active, so there's no forgetting. And also, from what I understand, those cameras are also GPS, so we don't have to pay for a GPS service as well, so we'll save money there too, correct, Chief?
Correct, yeah. We were paying for a GPS system. When I took over, nobody knew where it was even being monitored. But these cameras also have a built-in GPS, which would be on the officer, not GPS in the car. So the GPS will tell me where the officer actually is, not where his car is.
Right.
It'll tell me where he's actually at.
Right. And the service for that and accessing it is all included in this $29,000,
Correct.
$30,000?
Yep, it's all a part of the licensing that's included. You mentioned a couple of the fail-safes. These cameras have a lot of fail-safes built into them, so it will have 18 hours of continuous recording when the camera's on without sound. So if someone forgets to turn their camera on, Chief and only Chief would have access to be able to pull without sound. That happened in a critical incident in case it wasn't activated. And then in addition to that, you have those Bluetooth triggers that will turn on. So if a taser is turned on, the camera starts recording. If a firearm is pulled out of a holster, cameras will start recording. Lights, crash, speed within the vehicle, cameras will start recording.
Chief, what kind of burden in overhead manpower does this add to you?
Manpower
To
will,
account for this, hand them out?
I don't know if it's going to help with manpower so much. It'll just help with that, what
No, no, no.
acts.
Do you need, you've got to administer this. Is that a large obligation placed upon the police department, what are the man-hour requirements for you?
Well, by going with the evidence.com, we won't have to have somebody there. We'll have a lieutenant, Mark Jovanovich, is going to be assigned to oversee it, maintain the program, do the polls for public requests, things of that nature. He'll be in charge of monitoring it and taking care of it. But everything will be kept in the cloud, in the evidence.com.
As well included in this contract is an in-person training from Axon, where someone who has administered a body-worn camera program before will fly out, get everyone trained up, and help with the handing out cameras, getting the system set up, which is typically the biggest burden for a department. And that's included in this price.
So, as a company, what, like, as far as legalities, what do you think the savings are to a department in court cost and, legal cost and things of that nature with your system?
I mean, one critical incident that goes to court, it pays for itself typically.
Right.
It could save any officer's career, livelihood potentially, depending on what happened. A whole different ballgame when we start talking about less lethal.
Right.
Tasers today that are on the department's belt go 25 feet, and they don't have that many shot options. You get one shot and that's it. This one gives you a lot more shot options, and you get 45 foot of range. So all of a sudden doubling the ability to use a less lethal weapon compared to situations today where if you're 25 feet back, 30 feet back, you probably are going to have to pick a different option.
Right.
And if there's two officers on scene, their body cams are rolling, another officer walks up, gets within 35 feet, their camera is automatically going to click on without having to have him even turn it on.
And that's any department. So all of those agencies that I mentioned that are on Axon that are neighboring departments, if you're providing mutual aid, you're going to get all of those camera angles of the same incident.
The sheriff, Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office uses this system?
Yep.
The levy district,
Yeah.
East Jefferson? Okay.
There's also a
And
pre-event buffer. So-
Question.
Yeah,
If we walk up on a scene with them, will our cameras interlock with theirs?
as long as you have the setting turned on.
Okay.
There's also a pre-event buffer. So let's say in the heat of the moment, I turn on my camera. By the time I turn it on, I might have missed what made me turn it on. So it can pull up to a minute, 2 minutes, whatever you set up, of footage beforehand, so you can see what the officers saw that made them make the decision to turn their camera on.
And that's the video only, right?
Yeah.
No sound?
No sound, for officer privacy reasons.
Yeah,
Yep. Configurable. You can turn sound on, but no one does.
right.
So I believe the original grant was 200,000, and then they had the 80,000 was for the
LPRs.
LPRs.
Right.
And they combined both of them, that gives you the
Correct.
280.
And next year, I'll work on the LPRs with the state to get the
For
cars
every
equipped.
vehicle.
Right. Baby steps.
That's right.
Also, from a partnership standpoint, Axon is partnered with Flock, which is exactly
Right. The
who you
Flock
guys.
system.
Yep, so as you grow into the program, we're going to continue to pull in data from different sources. We don't own Flock, it's just a partnership to eliminate those data silos within the department and have their systems talk to each other.
And I have one additional question. When you work along with another agency and their recordings, are they able to access the other agency's film or only by?
Only
way
by
of the-
sharing.
Only by
Yep.
sharing.
So there's like a 2-button click sharing option in evidence.com. That's how you will share with the district attorney's office, way faster. Same with other agencies. You would just share those videos.
Okay.
You can also redact them, shorten them, give them only what they need to see.
Gotcha. Thank you.
We're good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ashley. I
Of course.
appreciate you coming.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.
45 feet, you got to be faster now, huh? Got to get faster.
Yeah, ready? Special presentations, 2 T. Baker Smith, Halsey Drive Drainage Study.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Chief. My name is Brian Moldaner. I'm a professional engineer licensed in Louisiana, Texas, Mississippi, representing T. Baker Smith. We're a 110-year-old civil engineering, surveying, environmental services firm. We're located at 6660 Riverside Drive, Suite 101 in Metairie. just north of you off of Power and I-10 here. I'm here tonight to talk to you about the Halsey Drive area drainage study. This is a hydraulic and hydrologic analysis that is being proposed. This area, through conversations with Mayor Bodier, we understand is an area of frequent flooding, street level flooding, and it can be a nuisance flooding and also perhaps a safety hazard depending on how long that standing water stays around. So this study, the scope of work is the Halsey Drive area. The northern bound is Ferrera Drive, the southern bound Jefferson Highway, western bound Shannon Lane East, and the eastern bound is Aaron Court. So the study proposes to analyze the internal drainage of that specific area. We understand that there's a complex drainage system in the city of Harahan. It's comprised physically complex from a combination of subsurface, open drainage, pump station, but also jurisdictionally complex in the sense that the city of Harahan has certain responsibilities as to internal drainage of the neighborhoods. Jefferson Parish has certain responsibilities to certain major drainage ways, and even DOTD with Jefferson Highway having ditches along the highway as well. So it is complex. This is proposing to look at the portion of the drainage in this area that the city controls and has responsibility for maintaining proper drainage of. So this study will look at that and make sure that water is flowing within the areas and through the conduits that the city is responsible for to get to the larger drainage ways that are operated either by DOTD or Jefferson Parish. So the study is broken up into two tasks. The first task is a data discovery, data gap analysis, and also be a community outreach component with one public meeting to get input, anecdotal evidence, and input from residents. From there, in that data gap analysis, we'll look at all studies that have been done in the area immediately, relative to this project. There are a lot of studies out there done by the Corps, Jefferson Parish, perhaps some that have been done in the past for the city. We'll take a look at all of that information, pull it together because there's been good work that's been done in the past. We want to capitalize on that. And we'll look for any gaps in data. One of the gaps that we know there is in data is that the drainage system in this area is not currently mapped. So there is another task of a topographic survey to map the drainage. And that's a very important step. So we have to understand what's there first, what inverts the pipes are at, the sizes and types of the pipe, because when we go to model this system, all of that information will help us get a more accurate representation of the existing conditions. And what we want to do is make sure that there's existing conditions in the model, represent the existing conditions in reality, and with an appropriate storm run in that model, we'll show flooding relative to what we see in real life. So that's how we'll calibrate the model, putting that real information in that we collect through a topographic survey. And then we'll go into a proposed condition model, which is essentially the solutions. We start trying to plug in different solutions to improve the drainage of the area. The end result ultimately is going to be a H&H drainage analysis report that gives recommendations on improvements. It will have the modeling information. It will show the existing conditions, the proposed conditions, which you shoot to have a lower water surface elevation in the proposed conditions through those improvements. And then we'll run also cost analysis information on those improvements so you have an understanding of the budget of what it would take to construct those proposed improvements. An ancillary benefit of this proposal is by doing that survey work and surveying the subsurface drainage system, you now have that information and that can be put into your GIS system. So, that is powerful information for, future councils, future mayors, future department heads, future, maintenance personnel to understand what's there. And then through that system, even if you're maintaining it, you can put in attributes as far as when the last time that culvert was clean, that catch basin was clean. So that is a big benefit as well, not directly related to what the problem we're trying to solve, but that is also an additional benefit. I can answer any questions that you have about it. That's a very high level, breakdown of what we're proposing to do, and that's been through a lot of discussions with Mayor Bodier. We rode through several parts of town looking at some of, the perceived issues, and this is the next step to start looking for a solution for this
Brian,
particular
for the
issue.
contract price here, $87,400.
Yes, sir.
You're going to take us to a cost estimate to repair.
Essentially, we're going to give you a proposed solution that's based on H&H modeling analysis.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So, and I only have one other question, and thank you for coming to talk to us tonight. On page 3 of your proposal, the third to last paragraph, it says, "Not all drainage information will be able to be collected within the proposed budget." So, I don't know what limitation, I don't know if that sentence is just in there, or if it's meaningful. If it's meaningful, we're not going to get everything you just said. We're not going to get everything.
Right. I think that's related to, there's certain inlets that you can see things from above ground, opening inlets, and there may be long distances between one or another, and there could potentially be blind connections. So if you have a lateral, if you have a drainage line going from catch basin A to catch basin B, there could be a blind connection where we know where it comes in, and we have to basically assume that that runs in and connects to that. Without going in and digging up the ground to look at it, you might have to make some of those assumptions. So, I guess that is more of a, catch-all in the sense that we can't see everything underground.
Can we-
But we're going to investigate it from those
videoing it?
areas.
I mean-
We're not video, no, sir. We analyze everything from the catch basins from a drainage survey perspective. So the drainage survey will look at the culverts as we can see them, either whether they're in open ditches, under driveways, basically the ends of those pipes that we can see, we'll collect data there. And
No condition of the pipe itself. You're not going to see
no,
that.
I know that Blue Flash, I think, often videos certain areas. That is not a service that we provide, no, sir.
Will you use that data from Blue Flash if they
We
have
can
it?
if provided, and that can be part of the data gap analysis, is working with Blue Flash. If you all would want to go and video the whole project area prior, we would certainly take that information, and if, let's say, the video shows one of those pipes is totally collapsed, we could represent that in the existing conditions model.
Right.
Description.
Do you have, two questions. Do you have an anticipated deliverable date on, once you get started, how, the timeline on it?
No, sir. So we'll give you a full project schedule before we proceed. I would anticipate the data gap analysis to take anywhere from 4 to 5 weeks. That also depends on the rate at which we receive information. So it's a little hard to tell what information you have. You all may need to make a request to Jefferson Parish to get a previous study or something of that nature. So we can give you an estimated schedule at the outset, but it will be contingent on the rate at which we receive information as well. And then the survey schedule, we have 10 days of survey on the ground budgeted. Then that data needs to be processed. I would say overall for survey, you're probably looking at from the first day we go out to us having the information in hand to be able to use in our model, you're probably looking at 3 weeks of the survey portion.
And we taking in consideration the whole back section from Wainwright to Halsey, there's no drainage.
Right, so we,
Right.
that-
So we have all that in consideration.
Yeah, so we're looking at this area within the bounds of the proposal. There's a project area. We are, yes, sir, looking at all of that.
Because
We're
that
gonna-
whole back loop
Right, that whole back
from
loop.
Nimitz
one of the-
Street that has nothing.
That
we
is
just
one of
called it
the
Halsey
obvious things
Street
that we're going to
project
look
because
at.
That was a lead-in street, but he's got the whole back, that whole
Yes, sir.
area back there.
Okay.
Because the water just sits there, and there's just been so many discussions over years of, there's drainage there, there's not drainage there, there's drainage, but no one ever knows where the drains go, and then we found out that actually, even worse, that we think that some drainage is actually tied into a sewer line. That's just been some recent studies that we've come out, and we absolutely cannot have that.
And, yes, sir, and one of the things we spoke about with Mayor Bodier was having representatives on site from Blue Flash while our surveyors are on site. That way, if there's something we can't deduce from looking at, from catch basin to catch basin, they can go with the camera. We can say, we don't understand what's happening from here to here. Can you video that line? And they can video that line, relay that information to us, give us the video, and have a better picture of what's actually going on underground.
Mr. Mayor, you had mentioned, I think last week when we were talking, that perhaps Councilman Bonanno was doing some work in this area. Is that concurrent with this, or is that a different project?
It's a different project, it's not concurrent with this.
Okay.
So, again, I'm not an engineer. I do think that without videoing the lines, we're really not going to know as much as we'd like to know at times. Having Blue Flash come out, stand by with your crews, adds a dimension of cost. I don't know what that is. So this is 87,000, we might be looking at another 20 or 30 or 40,000 to do this. And if it's got to be done to make it complete, then we need to know what that cost is before we move forward. I want to do it, but I want us to be, at the end of the day, have what we need.
I don't think anyone's going to be able to give us that exact cost. I mean, we could budget a preliminary number. I mean, he might go there and see he doesn't need anything videoed. He might go there and say, hey, I need 4 days of video. I understand that it's going to be an additional cost, and we need to budget something for it, but
Yes, sir, and I agree, that cost is not considered in our proposal.
Would it be workable if you guys, your crew was out there, surveyors, engineers, whatever you send, and they say, I don't know what's going on between line A and B, and then they move on down the line. So at the end, we get Blue Flash out one time to go shoot.
Absolutely. Yeah, we absolutely would show on our survey that we understand that there's a pipe here, and then there's a pipe here, but there's something happening in between due to some other above-ground
So we
feature.
don't have to have Blue Flash
And we're not-
standing by.
Correct.
Not necessarily, no,
Okay,
sir.
that's-
No, but just having that collaboration with them to help fill gaps, because again, we're topographic surveying is not underground. It's really what you can see from above ground with reasonable effort of taking up catch basins. Like if they pull a grate and a catch basin is 4 feet deep and full of mud to the top, we note that on the survey. Our survey crew chiefs will not dig out a 4-foot deep catch basin full of mud. So there's also that Blue Flash does some of the cleaning, I believe, as well, or another contractor may do some of the cleaning. So we will note things like that, and we can come back once that situation's taken care of and identify what's going on there. So there is a little bit of a collaborative effort from the survey side. Now, to address your point about the condition of a pipe from A to B, if we know a pipe goes from A to B, yes, something could be happening between those two pipes. That may be an issue. We have to put base assumptions in these models that the existing pipes are flowing full and clean. So even with that, in this area, I can say that there's an educated hunch that there's not enough drainage, to Mr. Chatelain's point, and that some of the drainage may be undersized, and that there may also not be enough inlets. So just based on experience of looking at these types of things, that's some of the base assumptions that we have, that even if this system was totally unimpeded, flowing properly, it may still be undersized or not have enough inlets. So,
Yeah, and I guess my concern is, at the end of the day, we're not going to know the condition of the pipe. So if you're putting fixes in, I mean,
Well, they're not putting those.
well, I'm sorry, you're proposing fixes.
Right.
But I don't know how we could go in and propose a fix to a line without knowing if some of that line needs to be replaced or not.
So I guess, again, our base assumption would be that line, as is at this current size, is flowing full and clean. And if it's not working at that assumption, it doesn't matter if it's full or, blocked or not, if it's not working and in the assumption that it's full and flowing clean.
And if need be that it needs to be videoed, Blue Flash goes out and to the locations where your folks have a question and provides that information to you, you're going to include that information?
Absolutely.
Video information into the
Absolutely.
final report?
Yes, sir.
So when I started this years ago, Councilman, everything Kelly does now, every piece of video, when I took office in 19, there was no video on file. So what we do now is we have a Dropbox where you can go anywhere, manhole to manhole, or any drainage segment that you want. And if we filmed it, it's in that Dropbox. So not only can I see it, the next mayor will be able to see it, then the mayor after him will be able to see it. So it's not money wasted. And the reason why I'm asking to engage T. Baker is because, this is a measure twice, cut once. And and to put your mind a little bit at ease, from what we understand, there's little to no drainage at all. And what happens is the water sits on the street, and now you got the H&H study to come in, so at least we can start to, because there are some roads that water's sitting on for so long, it's eroding them away. There will ultimately be some concrete that has to be repaired, and so that H&H study, will start to give us the hydraulics of trying to get the water to move, and then at some point, we'll have to figure out, honestly, to put some kind of sort of drainage in to tie it to where it's supposed to go, because as of now, we can't really find it.
So I appreciate that. I have a question related to the budgeting and not the technical, but thank you for the presentation.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. If you have any other questions, I'm happy to come back up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So my question then becomes, assuming it's approved tonight, what's it going to be charged to? Is it charged to the sewer department? Is it charged to,
What is this drainage? Is
Well,
it drainage?
I'm sorry, drainage? Yeah,
I know it says ARPA, and we need to change that to drainage.
sorry, what?
It says
says
it's coming from the
ARPA.
ARPA expense sewer, but to change that to drainage instead of sewer. On line number 17.
But we're not on the ordinance yet.
I know, I'm just letting him know.
I knew it was going to be a long meeting, so I asked to put them in special presentation, so.
No,
That's fine, and thank you for arranging
Yeah.
that, Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, I move to amend the agenda to add ABO permit license for 811 Fuel 3 Incorporated to new business number 3.
We have a motion by Councilman Asbill to add ABO license 811 Fuel 3 to new business number 3. Will now open for public hearing. No one coming forth. Will now close public hearing. We have a second by Councilman Johnston. All in favor?
Yeah.
Yay, 5 yeas, 0 nays. 811 Fuel 3 ABO is added to new business number 3.
Thank you.
And Mayor, I'd like to propose that we move consideration of ordinance 2023-29 to after 2023-32.
Okay, so we have a motion.
So when after the budget is passed, we'll know whether we have money to fund 2023-29.
Okay, got it. So we have a motion by Councilman Buddy to move ordinance number 2023-32 to proceed ordinance number 2023-29. We're now open for public hearing. No one coming forth. We'll now close public hearing. We have a second by Councilman Chatterling. All in favor?
Council discussion, please.
Oh, council discussion, go ahead.
I would think that we would want to do all of the ordinances that require us to make an appropriation before the budget so that we can incorporate it into the budget when we get to it.
That may be the best way to do it. I'm assuming if there's money in a line item and we approve the budget, then you can approve the expenditure. But how do you approve the expenditure before it's budgeted?
Yeah, I mean, it was chicken and egg, right?
Well, it just seemed to me that, I'm assuming it's going to pass. I don't know that it's not going to pass, but it's got to pass in the budget first. We've got to have money in the budget.
Well, we've got to decide if we're going to provide the benefit before we put it in the budget.
I'm sorry.
We've got to decide if we're going to provide the benefit to the employees before it
But
goes
once
into
we
the budget.
once we approve the ordinance, the mayor can go out and sign. I mean, that's the way it works. So I hear you. It's a chicken and egg thing.
Just to add that the estimated retirement cost for all participants is in the 2024 proposed budget.
Yeah, I was
So
aware of
certainly
that.
there may be discussion and changes, but
Right.
as it's presented right now, it's
It's in there.
included within the 2024 budget.
I mean, are
I
we
don't
able to
think-
amend the budget after? Are we not able to amend the budget?
We can amend the budget anytime we want.
Yeah.
But it's in the budget right now. The money's in there.
But no, it's not.
The cost is.
No, it's not.
I thought it was. It's broken up between departments. I'm pretty sure it is.
I'm pretty sure it is too.
Not.
You sure?
Well,
I know what you're saying. I know there's a version of the budget that it is in, but it's not in the version that was published.
I thought it was in the version I reviewed, so I hope I didn't review the wrong thing.
I'm looking at FY '23 and '24 budget with the print date on the bottom right corner of 11/22/23 at 10:09 a.m.
I'm looking at one that's 12/20.
20.
Right, that one wasn't published to the public. I don't think you can consider this tonight.
Okay, I was assuming this is what we're going to amend to.
I wouldn't assume that. I would assume you amend to the one that was published to the public.
Yeah, amend that one to conform to this one. This is the final budget proposal from the mayor.
As presented by the mayor, sure.
Yeah, so this is what we're working towards. It doesn't mean, I hear you, Jason, we got to go through to 2023, assuming this is approved, the December one, then the one that was published has to be amended to conform to whatever we approve.
Right, but that's a big assumption to assume that the one for December is going to be approved.
I'm not assuming it's going to be. It's got to be discussed, and
Right.
if it is approved, then you're modifying what was given to the public. I don't know the procedure. So, Jason, are you suggesting that we have to take the budget that was advertised and go through it line by line and compare it to this one? And that may be what's necessary.
That's what I would think is necessary, yes. And I would propose we leave the rest of the agenda like it is. But that's just me.
I mean, I can't vote to spend money that is not budgeted.
Yeah. Okay.
So you have a motion on the floor?
No further discussion from me.
Yeah.
So there is a motion on the floor by Councilman Buddy. It is seconded by Councilman Chatelain.
What is the motion?
Yeah, can we repeat that, please? Where do you want it to go?
We're going to move proposed ordinance number 2023-32 above proposed ordinance 2023-29.
Or vice versa.
Yeah, I think he wants to put
2023-39 after 2023-32.
Oh, you want to put 20?
Same difference.
Okay, got it.
Same difference.
Okay. And we have a motion, we second by Councilman Chatelain. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
Nay. Nay.
Nay, nay, nay.
Nay.
Okay, it fails.
All right.
All right, 2 yeas, 3 nays. Motion fails. Madam Clerk?
It just contradicts itself, no matter how we
It's your call.
Okay, approval of the minutes. Reading of the minutes of the council meeting on November 16th, 2023.
Move to dispense.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Asbill to dispense with the reading of the minutes from the proposed council meeting on November 16, 2023. We're now for public hearing. For any discussion, no one coming forth. We'll now close public hearing. We have a second to dispense with the reading of those minutes by Councilman Chatelain. All in favor?
Yeah.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Madam Clerk, the minutes of the reading is dispensed.
Approval of the minutes of the council meeting on November 16th, 2023.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Chatelain to approve those minutes. We're now open for public hearing. Anyone want to discuss? No one coming forth. We'll now close public hearing. We have a second by Councilman Ricks. All in favor to approve those minutes?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Madam Clerk?
Reading of the minutes of the special meeting on November 30th, 2023.
All right, we have a motion by Councilman Chatelain to dispense with the reading of the minutes of the special meeting on November 30th, 2023. We're now for public hearing. Anyone wanting to discuss? No one coming forth. We'll now close public hearing. We have a second by Councilman Buddy. All in favor?
Yeah.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Madam Clerk?
Approval of the minutes of the special meeting on November 30th, 2023.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Ricks to approve those minutes. We're now open for public hearing. No one coming forth. We'll now close public hearing. We have a second by Councilman Chatelain to approve those minutes for the special meeting on November 30th, 2023. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Madam Clerk?
No communications, resolutions. Proposed resolution number 2023-12. The following resolution was offered by Councilman Chatelain, a resolution ratifying and affirming the action of the mayor and advertising RFP 2023-0003 and subsequent approval, acceptance, and execution of the contract for curbside residential and small business solid waste material collection between the City of Harahan and Ivy Waste.
Okay, so we have a resolution offered by Councilman Chatelain, proposed resolution number 2023-12. Anyone wanting to come forward and speak on proposed ordinance resolution? No one coming forth. We'll now close public hearing. Council discussion?
I have discussion. How do we come up with the number 1673 a month?
Here we go. Oh,
Wait,
This is the garbage contract?
there's the garbage
Yeah.
contract, yes.
So how do we come up with 1673 a month?
we took the cost of the bid which was more than 16.
It was 1875.
Okay. And then we projected that out at something in the neighborhood of 4,400 cans, which was what the RFP went out at. And we added to that amount in this proposal, this ordinance, the total, we added to that the fee of, I think it's $60 per year on the,
63
it's on the
tax.
property tax bill? Thank you, 63. And took the sum of money available, took $100,000 out for maintenance and future increases, because it's got escalators in it, and divided that sum total of money available by the 4,300 cans, the number of cans.
Okay, so
That's why it's less than the proposal, because we're applying a good bit of the,
you're applying
Sir?
the property tax onto that.
yeah, the $63 can that's on the property tax bill is applied to this.
Well, they're billing us for 4233 units.
That's the out the gate.
That's the estimate, what they're billing us for 4233.
Well, they haven't billed us yet,
Well, that's what the proposal was,
but
4233.
it amounts to so much per can.
Right, and it's 1873.
Right.
952,000 a year. So the citizens are going to pay for all the city services?
Yeah.
All the city services,
That's
the
how
citizens
it-
pay for
My
that?
understanding, that's how it's always been.
Okay. All right. So you figuring over the years, they're going to escalate the price?
Oh, yeah, they're going to get cost of living
So
increase
3% every year in the next few years?
if inflation stays down, yes, sir.
So,
And it may go below 3.
so it's 1673, that's including the $5.25 a month that we pay on our property tax. That's in there. So it's 1673.
That's the $63.
So we're paying $1673 a month on our water bill, and we're paying $5.25 on our property tax, so therefore it's costing the citizens $21.98 a month.
Yeah. That may be correct.
Well, that is correct, because we're paying $21.98 a month. So that's not $1673, we're paying the property tax bill too.
Well, that's the $63 a year.
Right.
You're just discussing it in a different,
Right, right. So,
I've got a comment on the resolution itself. I know what you were trying to do, Councilman Chatelain. I don't think the resolution is necessary. I'm going to abstain from the vote tonight because I think if we pass this resolution, it starts to step on the mayor's territory as far as being able to sign contracts by himself, so long as he has the allocations of the funds.
I know what he's doing too. He's just trying to do it, because I said, I think the mayor has the right to sign a contract, but I think it should have been known, because like I mentioned the other day at the last council meeting, I never knew nothing about the RFP. Nobody ever told me about it. I wasn't notified. The mayor didn't say anything to me. Nobody in the council mentioned it to me. So if a citizen comes to me and says about a contract going out, or RFP going out, I didn't even know nothing about it. So they're just doing this so let the people know that the contract is being renewed. The people didn't even know about it. Nobody knew about it, except this council and a few of the councilmen knew about it, and the mayor. I don't even know if all the council up here knew about it. I know I didn't. I don't know if you knew about it. I don't know if Mike knew about it. I don't know if everybody knew about it.
I knew
know
about
I
it.
didn't.
So I agree, look, I agree with your frustration. The council should be notified about things, but I don't think it's something that we need to ratify by passing a resolution to say the mayor's
It's a
okay.
feel-good resolution, Councilman
Oh, I-
Hasbill, and I understand the mayor doing it, and I appreciate him doing it. He don't have to do it if he don't want to. You don't have to vote on it if you don't want to, Hasbill, Councilman Hasbill. You don't have to
Got it.
vote on it if you don't want to.
Yes, sir,
You don't
thank
have
you.
to.
Thank you.
But I'm just saying, my point is, it's $16.75 on the water bill, but to let the citizens know you're paying $5.25 on your property tax. So it's costing you $21.98 a month for the water, for the garbage pickup. Let the citizens know. We were told the other day that Harahan's paying less than Jefferson Parish. I think Jefferson Parish is paying $20 and some change. But we're paying more than Jefferson Parish, because we're paying $21.98 a month. But that's, I just want to let you know, that's what we're paying now, so.
That is the correct equivalent.
That's
to break
right.
the annual
And
fee
Mr.
down.
Paul, I mean, I don't know the exact number that the parish is paying, but it is going up quite substantially. It is in.
Everything's going
To
up.
mid-high to 30s that the parish,
thought
that if
the
you're a
council
Jefferson
was
Parish
paying
resident now,
$23
it'll be in the mid to high
plus-
30s.
We
Plus
do
dump
realize
fees.
we've been subsidizing trash out of general
General funds.
So,
for years.
For
so
years.
since we're on that topic, we've been subsidizing, and I think my plan with the money that we're going to recover and free up from the general fund, we'll be able to add a police officer on the street instead of paying for people's trash.
I'm not trying to say that.
No, I'm just
We
telling
just
the
want to
public.
make sure that people know
I agree.
what they're paying. I mean, just let them know up front.
I agree.
That they're paying.
Yes, sir.
$16.73 a month on your water bill and $5.25 a month. I'm not saying nothing. I'm just saying,
still
let's
think
be
it's
straight.
less
I'm
than
I don't care if it is. If it is, fine, but just
Well,
let's
you
be
made the
straight
point,
up front
Councilman.
with the people.
You
That's
made the
all.
point.
I made the point, so that's
I
it.
think the parish is.
That's it.
I think
It's
the
over
parish
with.
is paying
I'm
the
finished.
trash collector.
It's over with. Let them know.
I have a comment to make.
Well, go ahead and make a comment.
I am.
Go ahead and make it.
The council was paying, I mean, I
you
think
get three
Jefferson Parish
officers.
is paying the trash collector, I think, $23 a can. That contract does not include dump fees. So the parish is paying, in addition to the $23 a can, they're paying dump fees. I don't know what the citizens of Jefferson Parish are paying, I just know what,
Me neither.
I know what the Jefferson Parish contract with their current, well, effective January 1, contractor is. And I think
Pizza's
our
gonna be cold.
contract's less than that, and that's a very pleasant surprise.
Good. I'm glad we are. I just want to be
Yeah.
straight with the citizens, let them know what we're paying.
Well, and I have a comment too, because, I mean, how many cans are in Jefferson Parish?
It's not the point.
Oh, it is a point, because any contract
It's not the point.
that's got more cans than 2.5 square miles of 4,400 cans is going to be,
And-
typically, would be less.
I'm
right?
glad you're
And-
making a point, because you know why? They go to, Bucktown, and they got to drive all the way to, across the river, on Highway 90 to dump. The Harahan's right across the river, so they don't have to go as far to dump. So they're paying for more to dump from Bucktown to go all the way over there.
My
So we're
point
close
is-
to, location-wise.
My point is that you would think that they would get a bigger break due to the quantity of the cans, and we have substantially less to pick up, and we got a better product and a better deal.
Not when you got to drive from Bucktown all the way over to Old Metairie, by the boundary, by the New Orleans line. No, I don't agree. I don't agree.
Well, you
Okay,
you
so
think
we,
what you want.
all right, we have a motion by Councilman Chatelain for proposed resolutions number 2023. We have a second by Councilman Buddy. All in favor?
Yeah.
Yay.
Abstain.
4 yeas, 1 abstention.
And
Madam
Mayor, I
Clerk, please
appreciate
turn
you
it for the
putting it
record.
up.
Thank you.
Councilman Chatelain, I appreciate you putting it up. It's a feel good. I appreciate you putting it
And
up.
I will do a better making sure that I include you in
Thank you.
everything we got.
Appreciate it.
You got it. And thank you for bringing it up to me.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk?
Proposed ordinance number 2023-34. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Chatelain and seconded by Councilman
Second.
As-built, an ordinance amending ordinance number 1959, the annual budget of revenues and expenditures for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2023 for the ARPA Fund of the City of Harahan, Louisiana for the Halsey Drive Drainage Study.
Madam Clerk, I lost what ordinance you all.
Yeah.
Halsey Drive drainage.
He amended it
What is
to
it? What
put
number?
2023-34 first.
2023-34?
Sorry.
Okay, that's the one we moved to number
Yes.
1, yes.
I think he does it to mess with me sometimes.
I put the note, let me pull it up. I put the note on the agenda, so I didn't see it. Got to it.
He's just messing with us, Mr. Tom.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think he's
Okay,
allowing
we
me
have
to
a
mess
motion.
with myself.
It is definitely a strategy.
Oh, yeah, we know.
Let's work.
Okay, yeah. So anyone want to come speak on proposed numbers 2023-34, please come to the council. Come to the podium, I'm sorry. Come on.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Thanks for letting me come up. My name is Tom DeRoche. I am the father of Megan DeRoche, who lives on Halsey. I think she's been talking with Councilman Chatelain and Mayor Baudier, so thanks. I just wanted to come up here, and I brought some pictures. You're absolutely right. There is no drainage that we can see. I mean, it looks like maybe the street was covered over. So when it rains, the water stands. It's a sanitation issue. The garbage cans float off. My daughter has to get out of the car, walk through water. Sometimes she has to park on the street. It's a hazard. Now she's pregnant, so it's going to be more of a hazard for it. But I think it's also an issue possibly with mosquitoes because water stands. So I think there's about 24 households back in that area because it's Halsey and Marshall Street that there's no drainage. But if you start having a mosquito problem, and we've been having more, and with like West Nile virus and all these other things that are coming out, you got like, typical mosquito, I don't know what's in this area, but 1 to 3 mile radius. So it's going to affect a lot more households. So she sent a little letter. I've got a picture there where she's at on Halsey. She's got a letter. She's got some signatures from some of the people. I think a lot more people wanted to come out, but being so close to Christmas, I think a lot of people weren't able to do that. So I'll pass on the signatures and the letter for you guys.
Madam Clerk, I'd ask that you put all this in the council records for the minutes, please.
It may be some additional things. I was listening to the councilman talking about additional monies to understand the drainage. I would think this is like a first step.
Yes, sir.
I was talking with the engineers. I do engineering for a living. I do bid packages, mostly in offshore oil and gas, so I'm very familiar with it. So this is more like a scoping. So, this would be to give you an idea of what the, size of the problem and how much you would need to do. If there's no, there could be a cost savings if there's some additional lines that they would have to scope out. But if there's no lines there, if this is all covered over, their costs, I think, would cover it. This would also put you guys in a good position, I think, to go after additional funding. What we talked about with the mosquitoes and sanitation, there may be some additional funding. But if you don't, get this step done, so I just wanted to kind of point that out to you guys. I'm sure you know that. So and that's all I wanted to come up and say. So I thank you for your time.
Can I ask you a quick question, Mr.?
Sure, absolutely.
Since Megan's been in the area, has she or anybody, any of her neighbors had loss of property due to the flooding? As far as vehicles or houses? Not really?
Not that I'm aware of.
It's getting close, though? Is that right?
Yeah, yes, that's right, because it seems to be getting worse. So we've got a couple neighbors that have come here. My son-in-law's in the audience, so, but yeah, not, it's just, like I said, it's more of a hazard. You've got to get out into about a foot of water, and the garbage cans tend to float off if you got trash out there, yeah, so.
Majority of them houses are raised.
Yeah.
And
That's
it's
what
just
I'm
basically a
looking at in the
parking issue, and then the water sits out there for weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, they'll sit there for weeks. It
Yeah.
doesn't dry up.
There's a school, I was noticing there's a school that's 1 block over, so any mosquito issues we're going to get, that school is going to get it too. That's why I said it's going to be more than 24 households, 26 households.
Yeah.
I mean, and just believe it or not, I mean, this conversation started 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I'm hoping they forgive me for taking this long to get there, but we have, and it's taken a long time. We've dealt with so much adversity through hurricanes and COVID, and then just being able to get some funding, and now we finally got some funding in place. And the reason why we brought T-Breaker in is because we want to make sure we are measuring 10 times before we go to cut, because in my own personal opinion, you have no drainage, so we're going to have to put a drainage solution in there. And I guess one of my fears is that the parish has at one point had attempted to put a mini pump to the river on Colonial. Well, they're saying now that that's no longer feasible because Colonial sits at a high point, so the pump to the river wouldn't really work as much as, it wouldn't really be a benefit as much as it could. And now it's about becoming really proactive. This is a reactive and proactive project all in one, because, when the Colonial water starts to fill and we put 100 properties on there and 100 slabs of concrete, they're still going to continue to make the effort to move that water across the highway. And you're right across the highway. So, as we work through your project, we're going to start, really analyzing other projects, because we still think that mini pump is feasible to us, because it's much easier to put that water over the levee than it is to try to get it all the way to the lake. And we're starting from one side to the other. So there's a lot of moving parts in what you're doing here, and so I'm just glad we finally got it here, and we're really going to get some solutions. But I think it's going to be pretty invasive. I think we're going to have to really come up with a drainage solution for you guys, because if not, there will be a loss of property.
Yeah.
Once those 100 houses are built, the next man will have to deal with it, not me, but I want to make sure that I leave you guys in good shape before I leave here.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate that. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to consider that. So, yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll now close public hearing. All right, and we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Chatelain. We have a second by Councilman Asbill for proposed ordinance number 2023-34 to fund the study for the Halsey drainage area.
I think there was an amendment that you mentioned.
Yeah, we need to amend line 17
Yeah, drainage.
to drainage.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Chatelain to amend line
Second.
17 to change sewage from drainage. We'll have to open for public hearing. No one coming forth. We'll now close public hearing. We have a second by Councilman Asbill. All in favor on the amendment?
Yay.
We need to
5
change
yeas.
the line item as
Yeah,
well.
need to change the line item.
The line item's going to be 130-4-115-40900.
I think we can just accept that amendment.
Okay, so we have a
As the
motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill, Councilman Chatelain to change the line item number to 130-4-115-40900. We have a second by Councilman Asbill. We'll open the public hearing. No one coming forth. We'll close public hearing. All in favor of changing the line item number as request of Councilman Chatelain and Asbill?
Yay.
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 5 yeas, 0 nays.
So we've had two amendments on this, one changing a word and one changing the line item.
Yes, sir.
Correct.
Thank you.
And I think the finance director has another comment.
So we'd also like to add the budget for the revenue amounts from ARPA, just to offset the expenses. So if we can add that account to code 130-3-115-39350. That's ARPA revenue. With
So
the
you wanna make
same dollar
So you're going to make an
amount.
amendment moving it from ARPA?
No, it's staying
No.
within the ARPA, because you don't realize ARPA, ARPA is one of those deferred revenues. You don't
Right.
recognize the revenue until you spend
Right.
it.
Okay.
Well, do we need to change line 14 and line 7 with the ARPA fund?
No, sir.
No,
No.
no.
It's staying within ARPA, it's just recognizing the revenue.
Todd, the account number you read out, what account is that? The third amendment we're talking about?
It's to recognize the revenue within the ARPA fund for this
130-115.
proposed expenditure.
Okay, thank you.
So we have a motion by Councilman Chatelain to recognize the revenue through the ARPA fund of proposed of line item number 130-3-115-39350. We have a second by Councilman Chatelain. We'll open for public hearing. No one coming forth. We'll close public hearing. All in favor on the amendment?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0
You
nays.
need to take that second.
Okay, so now we have proposed ordinance number 2023-34 as amended with 3 amendments proposed by Councilman Chatelain, second by Councilman Asbill. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Madam Clerk, ordinance passes.
Just for clarification, point of information, the last amendment was offered by Councilman Chatelain, seconded by Councilman Asbill. Yeah.
Thank you.
I done it?
Oh, yeah, you and me.
Oh, okay. I should have offered it myself. All right, Madam Clerk.
Okay. Proposed ordinance number 2023-28, the following
Did we
ordinance.
adopt it as amended? We did that already?
I thought you just did that. That was the last.
Okay.
Do we need to do it again?
Where we
Just
at
again?
We're 2023-28.
The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Asbill and seconded by Councilman Chatelain, an ordinance to adopt the 2024 annual holiday calendar, which will supersede Ordinance 1361 relative to the section titled Holidays.
Okay, we have proposed ordinance number 2023-28, adoption of the holiday calendar, sponsored by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Chatelain. We'll open for public hearing. No one coming forth. We'll now close public hearing, council discussion.
I have a discussion. I see they scratched out Mardi Gras, and that was a discussion we had. I don't know, was it you guys wanted to take that off as a holiday?
No,
Well, it was just discussed, it wasn't officially made.
There was a motion and amendment. There was a motion made to amend it, and it was voted on. I think it passed 3
I
to
think
2.
it passed.
To take that off?
Yes, sir.
Just to amend it, not voting on
Okay, because
the final document.
my personal thoughts are this. I talked to the employees, and I don't know if you guys have, but I think they would appreciate having Mardi Gras day off, have a 4-day weekend, the day before Mardi Gras, they have that off, and take Juneteenth out. Juneteenth's a new holiday, and that's
Well, they
Later
can
in
take the
in the
day off.
year.
I believe they can take the day off, it's just not a paid holiday.
it's not paid. If they want to take it off, they don't get paid for Juneteenth. Are you talking about Juneteenth?
I'm talking about Mardi Gras.
Mardi Gras.
Juneteenth is a national holiday.
But they don't have to take us.
They
Martin
don't have to
Luther
take
King-
Lundy Gras, but they do
Martin
have to
Luther
take
King was not a
Juneteenth.
holiday for years and years and years.
My opinion was, and continues to be, there were 14 holidays this year, there's 14 holidays on this counter, just leave it like it is.
That's fine with me. That's fine with me. Is that a motion? I second it.
I guess I'll move to amend the ordinance to reinstate Lundy Gras as a holiday.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Asbill to amend proposed ordinance number 2023-28 to reinstate Mardi Gras as a holiday. We have a second by Councilman Johnson. We'll open for public hearing for any discussion. No one coming forth. We'll now close public hearing. All in favor on the amendment?
Yay.
Okay,
Yeah.
hold on. I have a discussion.
Okay.
So this will affect the budget across the whole board.
The budget was prepared as 14 holidays.
14 holidays originally.
Yeah.
And this is 14. Adding Lundy Gras back in is 14. So it's a wash.
All right. So you call for a vote?
All right, we're calling for the vote on the amendment of adding Lundy Gras back in and continuing to have a 14-holiday calendar.
Are we voting on this
We're
right
voting
now?
on the amendment.
On the amendment to add.
Because,
Lundy Gras back.
Todd, I still would like to say what it costs the city.
All right, so we have all in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
Nay.
All right, so you have 4 yeas, 1 nay.
Move to adopt as amended.
Okay, so now we have a motion by Councilman Asbill to adopt proposed ordinance number 2023-28 as amended, second by Councilman Chatelain. All in favor?
Yeah.
Yay.
Nay.
4 yeas, 1 nay. Madam Clerk?
Proposed ordinance number 2023-29. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Asbill and seconded by Councilman Ricks, an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Harahan to implement and execute a new 457B retirement plan effective January 1st, 2024.
Okay, well, now for public hearing, anyone want to speak on proposed ordinance number 2023-29, please come to the podium, state your name and address, no one coming forth. We will now close public hearing. We'll go on to council discussion.
Councilman, I've prepared a list of 4 amendments for you. They're in blue. I intend them to be red line, but they're not. They're blue line instead.
That's not acceptable.
Again, I thought that the previous ordinance, we were getting too much into the mayor's territory and trying to select the contractor and all that stuff. So I've made some amendments for this plan to be effective April 1st rather than January, because it's impossible to do it by January. They need a 45-day lead time to implement the plan. Added in there that, just to clarify, that it is a benefit for non-civil service, non-elected eligible employees. And added the language that we are extending this to our non-civil service, non-elected employees through participation in an employer-sponsored 457B plan with the city matching contributions of up to 4% of employee earnings. We decided on the 4% as a council at the last meeting, so I just put that in the body of the ordinance, then eliminate attachment or the Appendix A that we added. It's not necessary to have that. And then also amended it to take out the specific mention of that family office and just made a general reference to an investment advisory firm. That way the mayor can go out and select who he thinks is the best firm within the cost of the budget. And also, there's no need to come back to the council if they need to change firms in the future. And of course, the agreement that the mayor enters is going to be contingent upon the expenditure of the funds by the city council.
Question for, I guess, Jason and Todd. I believe this projection at 4% match is in the budget. I'm sorry. It's in the budget I reviewed this afternoon, the December 20 budget. Councilman Asbill, was this in the budget?
This was not in the
Okay.
November version of the budget.
Is it in the current budget that we're looking at tonight, the 1220?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, if there's no other council discussion, I would move to approve the amendments as
A second.
Do
outlined.
we have the public
We're going to,
discussion?
as amended, we're going to,
Move to approve the amendments.
all right, so, all right, so we're going to try to, so we want to amend this thing. So we'll propose ordinance number 2023-29, amendments as Councilman Asbill stated, and we'll put into the record. Do you want to read through them, or do you want to?
If you want me to.
Yes, sir, let's read through them.
Okay.
All right. A second.
Yeah.
The title will read, an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Harahan to implement and execute a new 457B retirement plan effective April 1st, 2024. Section 1 will now read, "It is hereby declared to be the policy and purpose of the City of Harahan, Louisiana, to extend membership and benefits of a retirement plan to non-civil service, non-elected eligible employees through participation in an employer-sponsored 457B plan with city matching contributions of up to 4% of employee earnings." We will strike the reference to the Stokes Family Office and replace it with an investment advisory firm. We will add the sentence at the end of Section 2 to say, "Said agreement shall be contingent upon the expenditure of funds by the City Council for the proposed budget year."
Okay, so we're voting on those amendments. We'll now open for public hearing, just to make sure I didn't get that. We'll now close public hearing. All in favor on the amendments?
Yay. No,
I had a question.
there was discussion on the amendment.
So, I understand about the Stokes Family Office, but at some point, so the mayor is allowed to do whatever he feels. Is that correct?
It has to be
Correct,
within the
budget.
compounds
Yeah,
of the
within the
budget.
bounds of the budget.
It's got to be 4%, because that's what we're approving,
Right.
but he can
Each-
pick the firm.
Yeah, each plan is going to have different costs associated with it, and we're just going to let the mayor pick that, and he's going to have to make sure those costs fall within his budget.
Jason, these were good changes. Thank you.
Thanks.
Particularly clarifying eligibility.
Okay, so we,
Question, just to clarify the council and the mayor's intent, it says up to 4%. Does the mayor have the discretion to alter that to 3%, or,
No, we want full.
so it's fixed at 4?
No, it's up to 4% because it's a matching contribution, right? So we'll match 3% if the employee does 3%.
So whatever an employee puts, we match.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with the way
Up
it's
to full,
worded.
right. Up to full, right.
Correct.
okay, on the amendments, we have a motion by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Johnston. All in favor on the amendments?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Now on the ordinance 2023-29. All in favor?
Just one quick point of information. The 2024 budget impact, if I can find my paper here, I've got notes everywhere, guys, bear with me, is only 30, no, it's less than that from what I saw in the budget sheet that was sent.
34.
Oh, here it is. Here it is. Give me 1 second, guys, I apologize. Here it is. All right, $34,227. And it's across all city departments except the fire department, because there's one employee in the police department who is non-civil service.
So I do have a question on the attachment that we received in the current package.
Oh, I'm sorry, the amendment was intended to delete the attachments.
You said that when you read it the first time, but not the
I'm
second.
sorry.
Delete the attachments.
I mean, we can talk about it.
I do have a question.
Okay.
And it's just for info only at this
Yep.
point in time. In the left margin, I think the word employer is written next to record-keeping and administrative expenses and investment advisory fiduciary, but the beginning of it is cut off.
That was right.
That's correct?
That's correct.
And then the last two lines, asset-based costs and internal fund expenses, I believe that's employee.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, yes, sir. Did we approve that?
No.
Move to approve as amended.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Asbill to approve proposed ordinance number 2023-29. We'll open for public hearing. We'll now close public hearing. We have a second by Councilman Ricks.
Yep.
All in favor?
Yay.
Yeah.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Madam Clerk?
Guys, I just want to let you know, I'm glad we did this. I think that's a way to keep employees. It's going to eliminate your turnaround. People feel they have something invested. Period.
Yes, thank you from the employees. Proposed ordinance number 2023-31. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Asbill and seconded by Councilman
I'll second it.
Ricks. An ordinance amending ordinance number 1959, the annual budget of revenues and expenditures for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2023 for the city of Harahan, Louisiana.
Okay, so we have proposed ordinance number 2023-31. We'll now open for public hearing. Anyone want to speak on it? No one coming forth. We'll now close public hearing. Council discussion. Councilman Asbill?
This is the 2023 budget. I know there's been some changes at the 11th hour yesterday from the mayor's office. I would propose that we defer the budget so we can have time to truly digest those changes and present and put our best foot forward for the citizens before we pass a budget that we received yesterday.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Johnson to defer proposed ordinance number 2023-31. All in favor?
Wait, council discussion?
Council
I'm
discussion.
sorry, council discussion, I'm sorry.
The only impact of deferral is at some point in some future audit, there's going to be a finding that we didn't pass a budget by December 31st. The finance guys won't say this, but it's not a big deal. Sure, it shows up, but there's no issue with a finding like that. There's no real impact other than there's, and I'm willing to take that hit on a future audit to make sure we get the budget right.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
If we can amend the budget at any point, why would we defer it?
Why, let's start with the best budget we can before we start amending it. Because I know we say we can amend the budget at any point, and we've said that over the past 4 or 5 years that I've been on this council, but we generally don't. And so I'd like to,
I think Councilman Rich may be getting at, let's work on amending the budget tonight.
Right.
We're here for it. As opposed to deferring, and if I...
I mean, if you've had time to digest the entire budget as presented to you yesterday, and you're ready to talk on it, then I'm happy to sit here and fumble through it with you until midnight,
Yeah.
but it's going to take a long time to get through it.
I have gotten through it to the level that I'm, with suggested amendments, that I'm comfortable with it. I'm speaking for myself, I'm not speaking for anybody else. But the alternative would be to amend, to defer it to a date in 2023.
I'm happy to do that as well.
And if there's a date when all councilmen are available, I know the mayor's not going to be here, which...
Okay, can I ask
Problematic.
Todd a question? So Todd, this is presented by you as the financial, right?
It's presented by me as the mayor.
But you created the budget, am I correct? Okay,
Consultation with the mayor and other department heads as well.
okay. And do you feel good about the budget?
So just to, that's a broad question, just a brief.
Well, I mean, I gotta ask.
Yes, but just this ordinance, I believe, is focused on 2023,
Yes.
okay? The changes to 2023 did exist, and there are some, but they're fairly focused on adjustments that were made to the projected salaries through the end of the year. So it does impact a number of different departments, but the changes specifically to 2023 are more limited than perhaps the changes in 2024.
Do you have, I didn't bring the original budget that was advertised, because when I got the one yesterday, I just started working on it. What was the net change in the total general revenue expenses for 2023 in the advertised budget versus the one issued
Yeah,
yesterday?
so that's my concern, that I haven't been able to comb through it, but I can tell you that the expenses went up $205, almost $206,000, and the revenues went down $1,100. So I'm not sure how that works when you only had a ending fund balance increase of $59,000. So that's not adding up for me, and I haven't been able to comb through it to figure that out. But on that first page, there's a $205,000 difference increase in expenses
Which,
on 2023.
right,
Yeah.
and just for the council and the mayor's benefit, that is substantially all salary related. I'm sure there's other one or two little cost supplies, but the bulk of the substantial changes to 23 are all salary related.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. All right, the net change in fund balance on the advertised budget was, I believe, a surplus of $59,257. If I'm reading it correctly.
That's
Yes,
correct.
that's what it is.
That's correct.
$59,257. And on the budget we received yesterday, the net change in fund balance is $11,417 positive. So there's been a overall additional net expense effect of $40,000, give or take some bucks.
But that's, I understand what you said, there's a $40,000 change in the ending fund balance
Yeah.
projection, but that's not what the expenses tell me. The expenses tell me there's a $200,000 increase from the proposed budget to yesterday's budget, which is how I don't understand how you get to only $40,000 in an ending fund balance unless there's other ways that it's done.
Well, I'm not sure I can answer that, but let's see here, 2 million.
Which is why I propose
The
that we defer it, so we
expenses-
can understand it better.
The expenses on the original budget,
Todd, can you answer that question?
Not in 2 seconds, but
Okay.
within minutes,
Great, yeah.
yes.
Yeah, let's work on this.
So,
So could there be an available date next week? I mean, I know the mayor won't be here, but we've got his proposed budget.
I'm available any day.
Monday afternoon?
You ain't gonna give us time? Any day but Thursday, so.
amended 2023 budget. But on second thought, I'm looking at the column J of both budgets, the one advertised, and the total expenditures listed in column J for the amended 2023 budget is $8,299,412. On the budget that we received yesterday,
Column J is not the right column to be looking at.
well, that's the amended,
No, sir. That's amended as of October
oh,
2023.
I'm sorry, you're correct, thank you.
You need to look at column H.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, sir. Which I'm not sure that's adding up either.
I don't know if y'all want to take a recess for 5 or 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, can we just move on to another ordinance? We got other stuff we can do besides budget.
That's fine.
I'm good with that.
You want to do that and just move on to another one? Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I move to amend the agenda to bring up ordinance number 2023 whatever the nuisance one is. 33. Thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbell to move into the budget on proposed ordinance number 2023-33.
I would like to take a slight recess. I'm going to propose that because I reviewed that ordinance and wrote up a
Okay.
couple of changes, and I'd like to get a copy made.
Is that the nuisance ordinance?
Okay.
These are the changes
Yes.
that I'd like to make, and we can discuss them.
All right, you want to take a recess?
Move for a
Yeah, I
5-minute
think
recess.
It'll give us time to make a copy, and
All right, we have a motion by Councilman Asbell, second by Councilman Chatelain, recess for 5 minutes. Okay, it is 8:10. It's 8:10. We're going to call the meeting back to order. All right. We are on proposed ordinance number 2023-33, an ordinance to amend the Harahan Code of Ordinances, Chapter 10, relative to the enforcement and authority of abatement and nuisance created by animals.
Now, we didn't get a second on that.
I'll
Second.
second it.
What are we seconding?
Well, I didn't read it out yet.
The
I
actual
know.
ordinance.
I'm not.
You just read
Seconding the
it. But I
ordinance.
need somebody to second it.
Oh, okay. Second by Councilman Chatelain.
we have to put it up in public hearing before I propose amendments. Question.
We're getting ready.
No, you said, all right, so we got a second. You're going to read through the ordinance now? or-
You want me
Okay,
to
got it.
reread it?
All right, so, all right, so now we're bringing it, all right. So we'll open for public hearing. Anyone that wants to speak on proposed ordinance number 2023-33, please come to the podium. No one coming forward. We'll now close public hearing. Council discussion.
Council, the intention of this ordinance is only to change the enforcement authority of the animal section of the nuisance code. Right now, it calls for a city humane officer. We're changing that to the regulatory director or their designee or other employee of the city that they designate, and the city regulatory department. That's the only intention I have with the ordinance. Everything else is remaining the same. Just to be clear, the chief of police does have some authority as it relates to animals. This does not hamper their authority. It just runs concurrently with the authority as already allowed. That's my only intention with the ordinance.
And this, let me just ask you, and this is because we have no regulatory
No, humane officer.
humane officer, right?
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
But in reviewing the ordinance, Jason changed the applicable wording regarding... Thank you. Jason focused on changing the wording regarding the humane officer. And I just went through it and found some things that I thought were, needed some tweaking. If you go to line 73, what this section does is it authorizes the regulatory department or the parish to seize an animal when there's been a dog bite, an unprovoked attack. Unprovoked's not defined, so it's pretty broad. So my first proposed amendment would be before after the words unprovoked attack, on line 73, I propose that we add the words other than the premises or land of its owner. So if an animal is on your property, they can't take your dog. Because this would allow somebody to come take your dog if your dog bites somebody that comes in your house.
Right.
I don't think that was the intent. I think the intent of this, a lot of it is rabies, protecting somebody when a dog bites them and you want to know that they don't have rabies.
Second the amendment.
You want to go through them all, or you want to do them one at a time?
I don't, I
Do
do,
them all as one.
Oh, okay.
Can we take all amendments in
over
blow vote?
Okay.
you want to do them all at one time?
Yes, so we'll go.
If anybody has questions, let's do them as I read it.
Okay, got it.
And I
Go
just want to clarify, you're not, the language you're amending is already in the code. It's not something that I knew that I added to the code.
No, I know that,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
But, what we find in Harahan is we've got a lot of very old ordinances, and sometimes when you look at them, you scratch your head. And, these may go back 50 years, 100 years. I don't know how old this original ordinance was. So I like to take the opportunity to, if we're tweaking part of it, to look at anything else that we think should be amended. So as I did a read of it, I saw 7 changes that I think are appropriate. The next change is regarding line 83, which is a blank line. And here again, if the animal bites somebody, in this case, the regulatory department can come out and make you surrender to the animal. Or the parish health unit, if the parish has one. So what I wanted to do here was on line 83, add the words, "This section shall not apply to an animal bite in a situation where, 1, the animal was vaccinated for rabies at the time of the unprovoked attack, and 2, the animal remains vaccinated for rabies." So if the dog that bites somebody is vaccinated, then the regulatory or parish officials can't come take your dog. Line 102. This is just a cleanup. They use the term "the director."
Yes, sir.
And I suggest on line 102, add the word regulatory before the word director. And that just conforms to the changes that Councilman Asbill was cleaning up in the first couple of paragraphs.
Yeah, before we move on from that one, I do want to check that one, because there's also references to the humane, or the animal shelter director in certain places. So I want to make sure it's not
Okay,
referring
yeah,
to that director.
please do.
What section is this? 1034.
And just so I'm clear, so if we have an animal that's vicious and biting, we have to resort to Jefferson Parish, correct, to get the animal out of the area? Is that
Correct.
correct?
It's up to the Jefferson Parish or the regulatory director, either one, really. But hopefully.
We don't have any means to.
Hopefully,
to
we would
restrict-
call the animal shelter.
But
Right.
this does authorize regulatory department to take action.
Right. So, so in the definitions, director is defined as director of the animal shelter department. So I think we'd leave that as director.
Is it in the ordinance, I mean, the
Yes,
code
sir.
we're amending?
Yes, sir.
I didn't see it,
Oh,
so,
because I skipped over the sections that we weren't amending. That's what the asterisks are.
all right, then I thank you for that clarification.
Yes, sir.
I withdraw that proposed amendment. Line 102, proposed amendment is withdrawn. Line 116, on line 116, I would add, at the beginning of the sentence, I would add the words, "except in situations where the animal had a current rabies vaccination." So it would read, "except in situations where the animal had a current rabies vaccination, if any animal is suspected of having been exposed to rabies, all persons having knowledge of such condition," So if the animal's, the concern is rabies, and if the animal's vaccinated, it shouldn't be a concern. Line 158. I would delete section 10-67B in its entirety. Because this is where they're going into your house, taking a pet. I'm sorry, if they get a dog on the street, and that dog or cat gets away from them and goes back to your house, then they can come and seize the dog, which seems kind of weird, because if it's your dog and it got on the street, and they have the dog, and it goes back to your house, well, it's just home.
Was this referring to if an animal is made a vicious attack? I guess is my question.
I don't think it is. It's a freestanding paragraph. Redemption from impoundment, harboring escaped dogs. It just seems to me, if they pick up a dog on the street, no reference to rabies, biting, or anything else, and then the dog would escape from them and go home, they
So you
could
wanna
come to your
delete
house, enter your house, and,
So we want to delete that?
yes,
Okay,
I would delete that section.
okay.
And last but maybe least, line 180. I would add, after the word cat, I'd add the word dog. Because
Okay.
the whole intent of this is animals, and they've left dog out of their definition.
Okay.
If anyone's curious, it does list rabbits, raccoons, possums, hamsters, guinea pigs, gerbils, and any other animal in the nature. So
Yes. So watch your gerbil.
Gerbils.
just be, just section B. There's some stuff in A, and there's stuff in B, C, and C.
All right. Okay, so we have a motion by Councilman Buddy to amend proposed ordinance 2023-33 with the ordinance as read into record. We'll now open for public hearing. Anyone want to go speak forth? We'll now close public hearing. No one coming forward.
Second the amendments.
All in favor on the proposed amendments for 2023-33?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Okay, now ordinance number 2023-33 as amended. We'll now open for public hearing. Anyone want to discuss that ordinance as amended? No one coming forth. We'll close public hearing. All in favor for proposed ordinance number 2023-33 as amended?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Thank you, Councilman Buddy.
Thank you for your patience.
Are we moving back to the budget, or do you want me to continue with ordinances for approval?
Let's go. Let's just continue on, and we'll come back to budget. We only got one more, right? 2023-37?
Yes.
All right, and then we'll go back to budget.
Proposed ordinance number 2023-37. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Chatelain and seconded by Councilman, who would like it?
I'll second it.
Buddy?
Yeah, I'll second.
An ordinance to amend and reordain ordinance number 53, Sewerage District Number 1 of the City of Harahan and the Harahan Municipal Code, Chapter 90, Article 2, Division 2, User Charges, Section 90-58, Schedule of Charges, providing for a change of user charges for services rendered by the said sewerage district.
Okay, we have a proposed ordinance number 2023-37 proposed by Councilman Chatelain, seconded by Councilman Buddy. We'll now open for public hearing. Anyone want to speak about this proposed ordinance? No one coming forth. We'll now close public hearing. Council discussion.
I have discussions again. I'm asking Todd the pricing. How did we come up with the numbers? The ordinance is here, but we don't have no numbers. Right now, we're paying what per 1,000 gallons on water? We're paying what, $3.48?
That's,
What are we paying per 1,000?
let me see, I have some notes on here.
Oh, no, it's a five thing. I want to think it's 570 something,
783
783.
We're paying that right now?
per 1,000 gallons.
So this is a reduction in the fee?
So we're collecting $403,000 a year from the city, and what is it, Todd, 277 on the millage, what you told me?
$277
On the millage?
on the property tax.
Okay, and we're collecting $403,000 from the people on the water bill,
That's it.
and we're going up to, what are we going up to on the water bill? What are we?
1673?
No, that's the sewer. That's the water. We're paying
Store increased.
$348 a thousand right now on water. So.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think for 1,000 gallons. I paid $34.10 for 9,000 gallons of water. And we're doubling our water bill, so I'm gonna be paying $68 every 2 months, which is gonna generate another $403,000 to the sewer department.
So this isn't,
right
this
now-
isn't your water bill, though. This is changing the sewer fee.
This is just sewer, yeah, but the sewer comes from your water usage.
Water usage.
Your
Well, yeah,
water
it does.
usage.
It does.
Right, right.
Correct.
Okay, well, let me finish. Okay, so we're collecting $680,000 a year, Todd, on our water and our sewer millage, and we're spending $790,000, you told me. So we're in the hole $110,000.
Sanitation.
So, is sanitation part of the water bill?
No. Well,
Okay,
no.
so we're 110 in the hole.
So 110 in the hole was on the trash.
No. I'm not talking about, I'm talking about the water.
Sanitation is
I'm
trash.
talking about the,
Yeah, what?
yeah. I'm not talking about, I'm not talking about
What's in the
garbage. I'm not talking about garbage, I'm talking about
Sewer.
sewer.
But what hole, how are we 110,000 in the hole?
The numbers you gave me.
Don't put the numbers on sanitation.
Okay, you told me,
I think y'all
You're
miscommunicated.
missing, you're
all
missing.
right, what is the $403,000 we're collecting?
That's sanitation currently.
All right, what do we collect on the water bill?
It relates to sewer sanitation.
Sewer charges.
On the millage?
Sewer charges, total sewer charges that we collect,
What do we collect on sewer?
millage and water bills.
Millage?
Is 393,000 in '23.
That's the millage?
The millage projected to be 405,000 in 2024.
And what do we collect on the water bill?
The water bill projecting 983,000 in '23.
That's what we collect now, or that's going to be when we double the bill?
No, that's as of today for 2023.
Okay. So we're collecting
1.3 million.
1.373 mil.
Million.
So we're going to double the water bill on the citizens?
Sewer bill.
Sewer bill, water,
Sewer,
oh,
sewer.
sewer.
But it's not
Wait,
the
they
whole
pay-
bill.
they
It's not
pay-
based on
Your whole
water.
bill's not going to double.
They- No, 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 no,
Okay,
no.
I'm
The
just saying, I
sewer
don't wanna
bill,
mislead
the
you.
sewer bill is going to double.
Correct.
Because you pay your sewers on your water usage.
Correct. You're going to pay, yes.
Your sewer usage. So the 983,000 now, that's sewage usage, correct?
Correct.
So we're going to collect 983,000 more per year on the citizens by increasing the sewer fee.
Or no, I think it's less than 900,000.
Well, I'm asking the numbers, man.
What is, how about this? Let's just simplify the whole thing. So are the citizens going to be increased on their water bill monthly? And what is the change?
They're going to double their water, they're going to double their sewage
Is
usage
it
fee.
double? Is it
It's less than double.
25%, 10%?
It's 70% increase
Just on the sewer part of it.
on the sewer
On
part.
sewer, yeah,
Now,
sewer.
let's talk about the logic, though, because there will be an increase, and it will be 70% of the sewer bill.
Sewer bill.
Here's the logic of how that number was derived. We currently operated in '23 at a $200,000 deficit.
Okay.
We have a debt payment that we need to start making of $250,000 a year from the sewer fund.
We hadn't paid that yet?
Well, no, we pay it every year.
Okay, well, so that's out of the $200,000 loss we took last year.
No,
So you said we'd pay it every year, but we hadn't paid it this year?
No, we paid it, but we didn't have the cash in the sewer fund to pay it.
But we went in debt 200,000 this year.
Correct.
Oh, so we're 200,000 in debt this year.
Just this year.
Okay.
wait, that's operating expense. Does that include the $250,000 debt payment?
Yes.
And so why are we in debt? $200,000 is my question.
$200,000 debt we got to pay
The sewer fund doesn't have the cash.
to pay the loan.
Sewer fund's upside down.
Right, but my question, more importantly, my question is, did we have a lot of expenses to repair the system? Are we just,
So you want to jump in?
yes?
So just so you know, prior to me taking office in '19, there was a loan placed with DEQ for $4 million. So that payment is coming to the DEQ loan. So that's stands before us, but now we're paying the price for it.
250 a year. But that was taken out this year, so that means we're 200,000 in debt because of that,
In the hole.
in the hole.
Did the $250,000 hit the net expenses of the sewer department?
No.
So am I correct in saying we had a $200,000 operating deficit that did not include the $250,000 debt payment?
Correct.
So,
On a cash basis.
right, so the sewer fund, in the theory that it's a self-funding entity, user-funded entity, had a $200,000 operating deficit, now has a $250,000 a year payment to repay the $4 million loan that should flow through the sewer fund.
So we're
And,
$450,000 in debt.
wait, let me,
That ain't it.
All right, that's why I'm asking.
right, it's,
Right.
no, that's, I'm sorry, it's 500,000. We had a $250,000 debt and a operating deficit of 250. That's 500.
Okay.
Now, the sewer fund also is illiquid in the sense that they don't have any cash. They owe the city of Harahan about $600,000 at year end, correct, Todd? And they've been owing the city of Harahan since the previous mayor.
Right.
And I think we started out at around 800,000 owed to the city.
8.5.
So my hope is that we take $200,000 a year of additional revenue in the sewer fund, and over 3 years, pay the city off, so that balance goes to zero. Now, these numbers have nothing in them for capital improvements. The sewer fund hadn't paid for any capital improvements. I think we paid for it with ARPA. So there's no money, in an operating deficit, there's no money for capital improvements. So, but we've got now, from the state, through the efforts of the mayor primarily and the council, we've got $4.5 million to spend on capital improvements.
We haven't gotten it yet.
Talking now.
So I would sit here and say, we don't need any capital improvement money for 3 years.
Okay.
Oh, depends what happens.
Well, but we don't have any revenue coming in for it now. So I'm saying that for the next 3 years, it's a projection. We're going to use that $200,000 a year to get us to a $700,000 increase. We'll pay the city off. The fund will be liquid. And at the end of 3 years, there's $200,000 a year built into the rate for capital improvements. Now, we could increase it for capital improvements during this period of time, but the fund's upside down. It's been operating at a deficit. It owes this general fund money, and this would put it on a user-paid basis. And that's how the $700,000 was derived.
I appreciate that. You know, now the citizens know why we're increasing their sewer fees. They don't know. They introduced an ordinance with no numbers on it. Now, you explained it on TV to the citizens why we have to increase their sewer fees. And I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Thank you. That's all I ask. Thank you.
Just quick discussion for me. We are increasing the sewer fees, or it seems that there's going to be a vote to increase the sewer fees. We just doubled the trash fees. That's a lot of increases at once. I'd ask that we maybe have some leniency on the actual increase, and maybe not go effective January 1st. Although if you're going to go effective January 1st, I suggest you change the date in Section 3 to January 1st, 2024. I would ask that we maybe make it effective at a later date so that people can start to account for some of these raise in costs. It's not easy for everybody. It's not easy for any of us, I don't think, but I'd like to maybe not defer the ordinance, defer the collection of this to a later date. And I understand it's going to put us behind on the timeline to pay back the city, but that debt to the city has been there for 6 years now. Let's go ahead and eat it for another 6 months if we can.
So you would propose that we start on July 1st?
Yes, sir.
Make a motion.
I moved to amend to make the charges become effective July 1st, 2024.
Line 41.
On line 41, yes. Happy to discuss.
I'll second it.
I'm happy with deferring it, but it changes the whole equation.
Oh, of course.
So
yeah.
now you're gonna get 6 months left revenue over time, which is $350,000. If in the year 2024, we make the $250,000 debt payment and we have a $250,000 deficiency, the additional monies puts the sewer fund in a bigger hole.
Yeah, would you prefer to structure it as a stepped increase on annualized? So whereas we start collecting it January 1st, but not at the current rate that's in the ordinance, and we go up next January, and then next January, so that,
I guess my question would be, what is the interest rate on the
I'm sorry,
loan?
Mike, what was that?
What is the interest rate on the loan?
It's a little over 1%.
So,
yeah,
I
3
mean,
months.
You're
it's
talking
money.
about the loan.
free money.
DEQ.
So, I mean, why not step into it?
Yeah.
I
mean-
seconded his ordinance to amend this.
Well, we have to pay the DEQ loan. If the sewer fund doesn't have the money, it's got to come out the general fund. So, it's,
But I'm with Jason, I
that's
mean.
going to get paid to
Yeah.
the state.
Look, it's easy to soften the blow a little bit, right out the gate. I'm with you on that. I think that stepping it, even an annualized step is probably the best
Okay.
mode of trying to get there.
I agree.
I just think on our end, it's going to be easier just to start the ordinance at the rate we have on the paperwork for July 1st instead of going half that rate, then add 20%, then add 20%, add 20%.
I think it's prudent to pass it, and if we have to defer it, it just means we're not going to get hold within our terms.
Correct.
And one of my personal goals was to make the sewer fund solve it during my term. And if that doesn't happen, it's not the end of the world. It'll be moving in that direction.
Right.
So I'm not opposed to the amendment to start on July 1st.
So, well, I guess,
You're
what was
talking
it?
about sewer only, you're talking about sewer and garbage?
Sewer only.
Sewer only.
So
Have you,
it's-
have you put that number into the budget for the sewer being, you haven't done sewer yet?
So if we did that for sewer, is that going to free up other funds in the general fund?
No, because we're so upside down. Yeah.
It's a loan situation with the city. Just means the city
It
is
will in
going to
about
be
5 or 6 years.
transferring money to the sewer fund to pay its bills.
Yeah, I guess I don't understand. If we're increasing the sewer fees to start covering the operational costs, it won't free up cash because we're also putting payments to the debts of the city, right? Is that?
Correct.
Okay. If we weren't paying off debts to the city, it would free up some cash for the general
That's why it's
fund.
going to take,
Yeah,
For years.
as this plan was proposed, at the end of 3 years, if it were adopted January 1, 2024, at the end of 3 years, there's $200,000 of free cash flow generated. The city's paid, you're continuing to pay the $250,000 a year, and you're covering the operating deficit.
and guys, I know we have money in capital, I know we have money in ARPA, but in the same note, this year's just covering your expenditures. If you have a major sewer break, that could be 200,000 overnight that we're not
Yeah,
even
we don't-
prepared for.
And there's no money
Well,
in
that's just an
sewer
emergency.
for
You just
that.
have it, it's
And
not there.
hasn't been.
Todd, are there any terms to the loan that we need to be considering here as we do this payback, or no?
There are covenants, and we do report to the state each year, and honestly, the increase in fees will help with those covenants.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that gets to my next point is I'd rather, even if it takes us longer to pay back the city, I'd rather,
Make your proposed amendment, Councilman.
well, let me talk through it. I'd rather, even if it takes back longer, I'd rather free up cash in the general fund for other emergent needs, such as more police officers, and also start to pay back the loan. So if we were able to pay it back at a $100,000 rate annually, rather than $200,000, we put another police officer on the street, I'm okay with that.
No,
It doesn't work that way,
don't work
because
like that.
this item, this
We go
loan,
to 250.
doesn't affect our general fund budget.
We go to 250.
It's an off-books loan.
Okay?
It's cash that we should have in our bank account that we don't.
Okay.
We're playing loose and goose with funds. A fund,
Oh,
by
I
its
know.
definition, should have the money it says it have in it.
So you pay 250 a year no
don't.
matter what.
Oh, yeah.
To the DEQ.
Yes. So you can't pay them 100.
Sewer budget should be separate from the
It
city
is.
budget.
It
We
is.
should have two
That's
different budgets.
exactly what Tom
And,
said.
and,
So,
but
okay.
Councilman Asbill's discussing the cash.
So what is the current rate we
Understand.
play right now per 1,000 gallons? You have that, 425, is that what you said?
For sewage?
Yeah, on the original ordinance from 2017?
Yeah, but it's been increased since then. My water bill, of course, that's every 2 months, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have if it's been increased since 2017. If not, it was 425 was the first.
It was increased. We increased it in our first,
When did you increase it? Because I can look through Nicole's.
I believe it was 19 or
Water bill
20.
for a minute.
What's that?
Can I see your water bill for 1 second?
Yeah. It's 783 per thousand.
How many thousand gallons? 11,000. So if, let's just say that it was 10,000 gallons, at an increased rate of $3.
It'll be about
Concerned if it's 6
$30.
months.
$30 a month.
less than 30.
You know, just give it to them grand.
Let's call it 30.
Yeah, so if you do a projected way it changes, that's just gonna be a headache.
Yeah,
It's
my headache.
$30 a month per
I
house,
hear you.
10,000 gallons.
Sorry, guys, I'm just waiting to see what the amendment that I want to make is, whether it's starting it in July or increasing it $2 now, $1 next year, $1 next year, $1 next year, whatever it might be.
I'd support
That's going to
100%.
dig the hole further.
Say again? It would have, yes.
I would,
See it?
Bless you.
Under new business, maybe?
I would support deferring the whole thing to July 1st.
What was
collecting.
that, Councilman?
I would support deferring the collections on July
Yeah,
1st.
then doing a step, I would.
Than doing a step.
Yeah, me
It's
too.
just my personal
Because the
opinion.
step's going to dig the hole further for the next couple.
I mean, I could support it either way. I mean, it's not my headache to do the calculations. But I just think it's going to
Might
be
be.
easier.
One day?
It's just going to be easier.
Just pull it and introduce it in July.
No, I think we can
Just
pass it now.
pass it now and just defer the
I
collections to
think
July.
pass it now, do July 1st, at least, give people a chance to kind of absorb it a little bit.
You want to make the motion, Eric?
He already made a motion.
You got a amendment?
Yeah.
You had a motion on the floor, correct?
No?
I did make, I withdrew it, though.
Oh. I'd make a motion to change section 3, line 41. The user charge shall become effective on July 1st, 2024. And that would just defer the payments.
Okay, so we have a motion by Councilman Asbill to amend proposed ordinance number 2023-37.
Chatelaine, that's Chatelaine.
So-
Chatelane's making the
Yeah,
amendment.
so to be clear, the motion is to defer increasing the fee until July 1st.
The collection.
Okay,
Increasing the fee.
right.
Right, okay.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Chatelain to increase the
Second.
the fee on line 41 to July 1st. We're now open for public hearing. No one coming forth. We'll close public hearing. All in favor of amending, we have a second by Councilman Asbill. All in favor of the amendment?
Yeah.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Now we're going to vote on proposed ordinance number 2023-37 as amended.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry, did we change the year also in that?
Yes,
Yep.
July 1st, 2024.
24.
24, thank you.
Okay. Okay, and then, no, we got to vote on the ordinance. All right, so now we're going to vote on the ordinance as amended, proposed ordinance number 2023-37, authored by Councilman Chatelain, seconded by Councilman Buddy, as amended. All in favor?
Yeah.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Madam Clerk? Okay, let's just run through, ordinance for introduction, just because those are important, and then we'll come right back to budget, since these are just read and title only.
Ordinances for introduction. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Asbill. Proposed ordinance number 2023-35, an ordinance to adopt the new City of Harahan Employee Handbook, non-civil service, which will supersede Ordinance 1361 and all subsequent amendments. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Asbill. Proposed ordinance number 2023-36, an ordinance imposing a fee for intrastate prearranged rides through a transportation network company in accordance with LA Revised Statute 482191 and sequence. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Chatelain. Proposed ordinance number 2023-38, an ordinance amending the Harahan Code of Ordinances, Article 10, Section 62-396, wrongful use of property, wrongful use of public property. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Chatelain. Proposed ordinance number 2023-39, an ordinance amending ordinance number 1959, the annual budget, of revenues and expenditures for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2023 for the Capital Project Fund of the City of Harahan, Louisiana for radar guns.
I got a question on that before we move on. That's not going to be considered until January. Mr. Todd, should we change that to the 2024 budget?
When do you plan to purchase, when are we looking?
I don't know. The radar guns, when are those going to be purchased?
I would think it would be
6 months ago.
As soon as this payment, as soon as this is
Okay.
passed next
So it'll be
month.
2024.
It'll be 2024.
It should be adjusted to 2024.
So So we're going back to the budget. Y'all ready?
So did you get all the ordinances?
Oh,
Did 40,
Yep.
41.
my bad. I forgot it. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Johnson. Proposed ordinance 2023-40, an ordinance appropriating funds for senior center renovation. And the following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Asbill. Proposed ordinance number 2023-41, an ordinance to repeal and replace Chapter 2, Administration, I don't know that number, article, is that 20? The V, is that 20? 5, wow. Finance, Division 1, generally, Section 2-202, council approval required for certain advertisements, and Division 2 contracts, Section 2-231 in general of the Harahan Municipal Code.
I know we don't normally do it, but if no one minds, I'd like to talk about proposed ordinance 2023-40, just to get the picture of what's going on at the senior center. I've heard some different things. Is this $125,000 intended to be part of a match, Councilman Johnson? Is there a match?
That's the match from Dino Banano, the $125,000. He's requiring us to do an ordinance to put to renovation, line item renovations, and he was going to contribute $125,000.
Okay, so this is to handle the receipt of that donation, sir?
No, this is us putting up $125,000 out of capital money.
Right.
He's
So-
matching out $125,000.
All right.
And then any money,
That was my kind of understanding,
Right.
that Councilman Dino Bonanno was going to contribute
right,
$125,000
but we had to put up
to improve.
125, yeah.
Yes, sir.
And then we
Okay.
have any rentals and also any fundraisers, raising money to put towards the renovations of the building.
What do you do when the renovations are over, Councilman? I'm sorry.
Then the mayor will handle that. We'll put it, we continue to put in renovations, because there's always work to be done at the senior center. We're always doing renovations over there.
We are going to continue to seek more funding. The funding we have now is probably a third of what we're looking for to do the renovations on the senior center. It's really dated, termite infested, the air conditioner's out, the generator's not working anymore. It needs a lot of work, and it's important to our seniors, and so we've been working really hard to give them a first-class facility. And just add another thing to it, Mr. Tom, we also got $126,000 for the state to replace all the AC units, because we need to pull all of that. There's an old boiler system in there, so we're going to pull all of that out, just get rid of it and haul it away, and then we'll put in a brand-new AC unit, and then we'll also have about $250,000 in renovations as well. So all total will be right on our $500,000 in renovations, but we're only halfway there, a little less than halfway, to be honest with you. And I do have a budget, I do have a forecasted budget and the renovations that we'd like to see done over the next couple of years, and it is about $1 million.
So the near future is city's $125,000, Councilman Bonanno's $125,000 graciously offered, and the $150,000?
$126,000.
126, so about $376,000 is going to be spent in the near future
Yeah, very near.
on the senior center.
Correct.
Can I ask you a quick question? So have we looked at
Thank you for that.
erecting a new building?
I mean, the bones of the building are great. It just needs a lot of love. And it's old. It's old, and,
I mean, it seems like if we're going to spend $1 million, maybe we should look at that.
yeah, it's a bigger building. I mean, it's all brick, and it's just,
You'll be surprised.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it just, just trying to show it some love, show our seniors some love. And, but I think we're in a good spot. And people have been helping us. So let me break it down for you. We got $126,000 from the state. It is in hand now. We have that now. I signed the ordinance from Councilman Bonanno's office the other day, the sort of 125 should be ACH to us very soon. And then, if you approve the 125 tonight out of capital, so we're already, we can start, we're going to start as soon as this ordinance gets proposed, so we can get our seniors back home. Right now, they're actually not occupying the center because we're pre-planning all the construction. And they want to come back home.
I'm good with this.
All right.
I think it's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're moving on to old business, new business, and then what are we doing?
You want to go back to ordinances? I think we can handle the rest later.
Okay, whatever you want to do.
You just let me
So
know.
we're going to go back to proposed ordinance number 2023-31.
I'll make a motion to defer until December 27th,
Second.
2023, at 6 PM.
December 22nd, Councilman?
27th.
27th. Thank you.
For what? To come back, he wants to defer it. Yeah.
I'd really rather just go through it and get it done.
Well, you got a motion and a second, so all in favor to defer proposed ordinance number 2023-31?
Nay.
Yay.
Wait, we're deferring it to December 27th.
Well, he's asking to defer it. And so
Yes,
we're
but
voting
to
on-
that date.
Right.
Correct.
So you got 2 nays, 2 yeas.
Can everybody make it? All the councilmen are available?
I can make.
I won't be able to make it.
I'm available. I'd rather go through it tonight if we can.
I'd rather go through it tonight if we can, and I mean, I think it would be appropriate if the mayor were here. Certainly, it's his budget that we're amending.
That's right.
So I'm a vote nay at this moment.
Okay, so
So it's 3 to 2.
Councilman Asbell's ordinance fails?
So if I ask again in another moment, you might change your mind? Is that,
Well,
is
yeah,
it
because
possible?
I think
Okay,
we go through the budget and see where we can get.
okay.
Okay,
All right.
Todd, were you
That
able
was
to
the
find the
original
differences?
thought, just work through it.
Okay,
If we
so,
can't get to it, we need to have a special meeting.
I need to move somewhere.
I agree.
all right, so Councilman Tunion has the adjustments that were in question? I mean, I'm sorry, Finance Director Tunion.
Yeah.
So I think the items, so first, the focus is on the 2023 amended budget. That's column G on the revised budget presented, on the 1220 budget. So the difference, the total difference between the budget on December 20th and November 22nd is $1,000 on total revenue and $46,000 on total expenses. So the total change is $47,000 between the two budgets.
So revenue went down 1,000.
1,000. I don't know if it went up or down.
Well, it had to go down if the net change is 47.
Yeah, it went down. And the expenses went up 46,000. And we can walk through those items, or
Are there any big items, like 100,000 in one direction and 80,000 in the other, that we ought to be looking at? Because sometimes that happens when you're looking at a net change.
so on the payroll adjustments, the payroll expenses were increased in most of the departments, okay? That's why they are highlighted yellow.
So can I ask you top line before we move
Yeah,
in deeper
yeah.
in? Top line, page 1. If I look at column H, and I'm gonna pick on the police department for a moment, because that's the biggest increase. If I look at column H for police on both pages, column H, I see a difference of $160,000 to the positive.
Okay.
So how, if we're going down in revenue, and just that one department has $160,000, and I don't see any decreases among these, how are we only increasing expenses $40,000? And forgive my ignorance if that's not.
No, because there's an offset, there's another department that has a decrease in expenditures that offsets that.
Right, okay. Got it.
Well, Jason, let's get that out. Let's make sure we're in agreement. Are we in agreement that the change is only $47,000 net? And that the total expenses only changed 46?
4617, yes, sir.
Yes. Yep. I got 709.
Oh,
So,
okay, yeah.
no,
We're close.
it's pennies. All right. So, so we can walk through the changes. I mean, the revenue's $1,000. I'm not sure that warrants discussion.
If it's one item and it's not.
It's one item,
100 in
it's,
one direction
no,
and
it's one
99 in
item,
the other,
$1,000.
I don't think we need to discuss it.
On the expenses, just walk through the yellow highlights. Row 188, the salaries in general government. These salaries increased
What line are you on?
Row 188.
That's on the 1220 one.
On the 1220, correct.
And then on the new, you know what the new is? The old.
The old was 82, so it went from 82 to 96.
What's the change there? It's a $14,000 change.
Yeah.
Did we hire somebody?
No, there was an adjustment to the calculation in the accrued payroll in the estimate of the payroll at December 31st. We had estimated, I don't remember, like 5.5 payrolls. And when you looked at the calendar, it was actually 6 that needed to be included within these projections. So that's why each department was off in the initial projections.
The original budget was 342, 640 for his salary budget line item,
No, yes, yep.
and he spent 345, 833,
That's what we're projecting, yes.
and is 3,000 over, and we worried about that, $3,000 over?
No, we're going through each line to determine
through
that
each line.
it's
It was
not
instead
significant,
of-
just to answer the question.
Yeah.
Oh, good God, okay.
Mr. Johnson, you'll like the next one. The next one is an increase of about
Well, that's different, that's different.
$250,
Where's that at?
just right underneath it.
Well, $250?
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's right underneath the way you see that, I don't see that.
Overtime payment.
Overtime, $250, and we're worried about that too.
So down the road, 225, that's the revenue adjustment, decreased $1,000, $1,131. That's the decrease in revenue?
Is that just because we can't project task force money?
No, it's an item that we prorated just over the last 3 months, and it's not an item that warrants proration.
Okay.
Where you at item number 222? what-
225.
The DEA drug task force over the OT grant.
Road 256, police supplies. That was increased from, give me 1 second. $10,000 projected to $28,000 projected. So that was an increase of $18,000. I think based on discussion with the chief, that's to purchase ammunition at a discount, at a better price before December 31st.
While we're on that item, not a delta, but looking at the 2024 budget, we seem to have carried over the amended 2023 budget largely and increased it. So I understand why it jumped, buying the ammunition at the end of the year to take advantage of a good price. Do we have a comment on why the 2024? Well, we'll save that for.
Is that the
We'll
axiom?
save that for 2024.
That's the
So where's
axiom.
that-
That's the axiom that we just voted on.
So we've got an increase,
So you got
what is that?
the 29,000.
Right, right.
A year
So where's that revenue coming from?
for the
I'll
axiom.
show you the reduction in expenses when we get to those line items.
That's why.
Vehicle repairs and maintenance in road 265. Was originally projected at 8,000, and we increased that to 41,000. Chief, that's for improvements to the vehicles?
That's for the maintenance on the vehicles. We had a breakdown, I think we sent it to everybody,
Is that-
Kathleen. We're going through batteries, and the cars are just old, and we're having to fix them to keep them operational, but
Did y'all get anything on police vehicle breakdowns? I got salaries, but not,
I don't believe I got anything on the
I
breakdown.
thought Kathleen had sent all that to everybody at two
Email?
I
meetings
didn't
ago.
get that.
Oh,
2 or 3 meetings ago.
Oh,
I may have received it and just overlooked it.
Okay.
I don't
But it's the maintenance of the cars, but we do have 5 brand-new intercepts that are in the line to be sent. We've got the VIN numbers, but we're just waiting for Ford to ship them
so
to us, and then we'll be getting rid of 5 of the oldest cars.
is that 41 based on actuals for this year?
That's what I'm trying
Because
to,
it sounds like a pretty round number to,
so I'm trying to see if that's bills we already paid in October, November. Give me a minute.
We had one vehicle, we just had to get one of the Caprices. We had to get the 2 wheel arms on the 2 front end of the car. It was $1,000 to get that fixed, to keep that car running.
Well, keep them running, because you got a lot of wrecked up ones out there.
We're trying to get new cars. It's brutal.
No, we're trying to get rid of the oldest ones.
Yeah.
another auction.
We are. We just haven't really put it together yet, but we will. You getting them up? No?
The others, let's just get them out there and get the insurance off of them.
We'll push on it first. We'll try to get them out.
It's not based on actual expenses. I don't see any bills in here. I've got 27,000 actuals through
I mean, it's still a projection.
a week or 2 ago.
So December's not over, and we haven't accounted for
Correct.
December. It's still a
Yeah.
projection.
Okay.
so there's a $14,000 delta between the projection and the actuals right now, ish, 13?
No, more,
Oh.
because it's 60 is the projection. Our actuals
Oh, I'm sorry.
through
Oh, yeah, I was looking at 41. It went up
end of
41.
November, 26,000.
This is also why it's kind of confusing, because I see your highlighted number, but it doesn't tell me that everything changes, which I should know, right?
Yeah.
So it's, what is the delta?
So we're projecting 60, and we have 27,000 actuals.
So we're
through
anticipating
November.
perhaps $37,000 in vehicle repairs by the end of the year?
30,
I know I just signed a
$1,000
$1,000
30?
30, 32. Yeah.
How much, chief?
I just spent $1,000 on one vehicle.
Okay.
This is from
Okay.
So the 41,000 is not an actual, and the 73,000 is a projected
Correct.
budget for 2024? So we got 27,000 plus 1,000, so we have like 28,000 currently?
Right,
And
28.
He could have something he's not thinking, but yeah.
Yeah.
And hopefully with the new vehicles, we won't have as much repairs, because they'll all
I
be
mean,
in
you're
one.
getting 5 new ones, you still have a lot of repairs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got a lot of old cars.
Hopefully, we won't spend the whole 73 next year.
Yeah. Right.
But the new ones will be under warranty.
Yeah. So in the projected budget, if that happens, I mean, I see that possibly going
But I just
down.
think that projected
Right.
number's a little high.
That's a lot of
Yeah,
money to spend.
that's a lot of money.
If we're wrong, great.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
yeah. I mean, on maintenance, it's hard. We got accidents and everything else, but I still think that that number's pretty inflated, so.
We also trying to, the lift at the motor pool is not able to be equipped to the taller vehicles now, and so they're getting very hard to work on, so that's another thing, and maybe we'll probably use that delta to get the new lift to where the SUVs can be lifted where the guy can get underneath and work on
So
them.
is that in vehicle repairs though, or is that in?
It's for
that's
vehicle
capital,
repair,
right?
but
That would be a capital building.
Capital building improvement, right?
we can, either way. You say tomato, I say tomato.
Yeah, let's say tomato.
We say the wrong words a bunch around here.
All right. Okay. is this so friggin' high? Janitorial supplies and service.
All right, John. Row 277?
Yes. Well, can I back up to 270?
270, Mike?
Yeah, 270. I mean, we're at 2383, we're going to 14.5 on a projected budget for janitorial supplies and service?
No, we originally
24 budget, yeah.
projected 14.5 this year. The actuals are 9,500. That's what we're projecting this year.
Is there a reason we're going to jump from?
Yeah, a 50% increase. Is that because of the new red building
Janitorial supplies.
use?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a lot of total trouble.
I think we reviewed that with the chief and with Kathleen. They have a
Do you think
list,
it might be because we've
a
got the
list of the
red building
proposed
in use
vendors.
now?
That is part of it.
That is part of it. The red building is part of it.
And is there any additional cleaning as you anticipate operating the jail? No?
Well, there is going to be some, we're going to reactivate the jail, there will be some cleaning that's going to be projected in that.
Okay.
Once we open the jail, we're going to have to keep it sterilized.
All right, we're moving to 277?
277.
277, salaries in the police department. Again, that increased from 309 to 397, and that's again due to the,
No.
well, that's the column G, but column H increased from 1.176 to 1.264.
So about $90,000.
Yeah.
And what is
Yep.
that?
Same issue as the other department. The initial estimate that we used for the projection was a half pay period short. So it impacted all departments.
A half month or half pay?
Half pay period, or a week. I don't remember exactly if it was a week or not, but it was short. It was short.
So on that line item, I'm sure the number's going to come in close to that 1,264,000 for '23, but the number we're currently projecting for '24 is $1,372,000. That's a $104,000 increase, and it assumes full staffing, and it assumes a full year's pay increase, because 2023 only had a half year. $104,000 doesn't explain that. We've got a good grasp of the 2024 projection. So I'm wondering what might have hit in '23 that number is so high, because we didn't have full staffing, and we didn't have the raise in effect for the whole year. It
You
should be
don't
a
have full
lot.
staff and you're
it
paying
should-
overtime.
You're right, you're paying overtime.
But it wouldn't be in that line.
Yeah, but that's a different line.
Yeah, overtime's in a different line item. Well,
Did we lose?
this is the general question. Are we still paying the former assistant chief?
Oh, what?
I was wondering.
No.
Okay, because there was a period of time where I was told we weren't. I didn't know that ended.
No, but didn't
Anyway,
you have,
This just,
hold on one second, let me ask
he's
this
correct.
question. Chief, didn't you have either one or two officers who were on leave for whatever, the disability, or, didn't you have two of those?
Well, I had one officer that was injured. He was out for like 8 weeks.
Yeah, and then another lady, didn't you have a dispatcher or something was out too?
Well, she was out when I took office. She had a medical issue when I
Yeah.
first took off. First of the year, she was out for almost 2 months, 2.5 months.
And we were liable to pay them during that time,
I
correct?
believe so.
Yeah, so they had to be filled. So those two positions had to be filled for a couple months.
But I think the projected budget is to hopefully be at full capacity of the 13 officers
on the street.
to fill the vacancies we have, and that's projecting to cover the shortfall that we don't have now. Hopefully, we're going to be able to recruit. We do have 3 in line that's being worked right now to hopefully bring on full-time. But that's the projection of if we have everybody employed, full staff.
Row 278, the salary for the chief. Again, same issue with the calculation of the estimate of the number of pay periods remaining in the year.
Okay.
Overtime pay. Same thing. No, that's probably based on discussion with the chief to increase it some for Christmas
Light.
activity.
Right.
Right, because it initially was budgeted at $2,000 for the rest of the year, which would not have been adequate to cover the additional overtime during the Christmas season. So we adjusted that to $10,000.
We have the Blue Light Task Force with 2 full-time officers in addition to the 2 officers that are on the street. So we have 2 reserves, 2 full-time overtime units being paid to give us the 6 officers in the city.
Row 355. These are offset, Councilman Asbill. So the fire department salaries projected were correct because we used the numbers as provided by the fire chief. So like row 354, there was no adjustment to the general salaries for the fire department because we had used that information as opposed to the estimates of the number of pay periods. So there was no need to adjust that number.
So this is just missing the half pay period or the?
No,
one-
it was correct. No, the number that the fire chief gave us was correct.
I'm sorry, what?
So my numbers were correct.
Oh.
Correct.
I wasn't missing
Yep.
So how does that make up the difference?
So, well, 355 does because in the initial budget, we just had an amount budgeted that should not have been in there for $186,000 in row 353. Or 181.
You mean 354?
353 in the first version.
What's 354, I guess, in this version?
Right, right. So that salaries of a subcontractor was just a number that should not have been in there.
I'm confused on how that. Nice. So that 186, it went to cover the miscalculations in all the other departments. Is that right?
Yes, but the 186, it was also a number that was not correct. So they all offset each other, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. Scheduled overtime pay, row 357. We increased that based on feedback from the fire chief. So that was increased.
What we had was another line item that was incorrect, if you remember. And we
Yeah.
just made one line item that was correct.
Correct.
So part of
I
that,
don't know how that other line item ever even got in the budget, but it
Yeah,
was.
yeah. And,
So I just corrected it to what.
Yep.
What was
Yep.
the line item, chief?
It was the,
353.
you had scheduled overtimes and it was other, or put into either overtime or.
salaries other, it was in that salaries other.
Last year, you had the same thing, you had salaries
Right.
and others, then you had overtime, and it was basically the
And
same
it's
thing.
how they did the scheduled overtime, or what we used to call
Salary adjustments.
salary adjustment. And so I don't know whether there was confusion in wherever.
So it's combined.
So that's a
Yes.
consolidation of lines.
Correct.
Yeah, because this looks like the expense has gone up 33% over last year. So if there's a correction in there, that explains it.
Yeah,
Yeah, we had the same question in last year.
no.
There's always been scheduled overtime,
Yeah.
and this is just
So
correcting.
23 is where you had numbers split and you're combining in 24, correct? Thank you.
Okay.
Down to Department 115, maintenance, salaries, again, the same issue. There was an increase in the salaries in the December 20 amounts.
What line item?
That went
I'm sorry, which line item
What
is
line
that,
item
Tom?
you on?
428.
428.
Quantum leap.
Okay.
So that went from 217 to 222. So that was a $5,000 change in the maintenance department.
And then we're projected another 10,000 for 2024, is that right?
Correct.
Mary, I'll ask the question now, Mary. Those raises, 4.5% raise, is that built into the increase?
It is.
Thank you.
What about the match? Is that something that's built into this budgetary
And in
number?
2024, it should be, if we do.
Well, it's
anything.
built into the December budget, it's
Look
not
at
built
line
into the November
434.
20 budget.
Right.
Wait. Oh, hold on one second. Look at line 434.
Right, retirement match.
Okay, so you got the retirement match there.
He broke it down by
I see.
department.
I got you, okay. Thank you. All right,
Row 484, recreation salaries.
Same thing plus the retirement match.
Changed, well, that's the 2024 impact, yes, but for
Yeah.
is the
2023,
is that the same pay period
right,
missing?
right, it changed by 6,000,
So that brings that to 133 and the new budget 136.
right.
Okay. All right. Longevity pay. Did we get any increases on hospitalization this year? Or, I see where we have it budgeted here. but
So that's
I don't
that's
see what-
updated, I think that's priced in July, correct, Kerry? The medical benefits are adjusted in July, correct? Yeah,
So it's subject to change. mid-year.
subject to
Well,
change,
I
correct.
guess what I'm asking is I don't see it in the projected 2023 budget, nor do I see the amended budget line is also blank, but the original 2024 budgetary line is $4,888.
Which line?
This is your line 488, right? Am I right? Okay, so this is the match. This is the upcoming match? Is that what that
That's
is?
the new retirement match, correct.
Okay. All right, that's what I was asking.
Which every department has.
Yeah, it's, right.
Except fire, really, and the police has one employee.
All right.
And sanitation, we're not paying city tourists, it's retirement.
Yeah, we are.
Here we go.
566, row 566, same thing on the payroll adjustment. Went from 91,000 to 96,000. So that's a $5,000 increase.
What department is that?
118 is regulatory.
Regulatory? Okay.
Repairs and maintenance.
Department 119, the court.
Are you talking about row 618?
Yep. That went from 10,000 to 24,000. That was more than the pay period. They also added an employee during the year, and that impacted the calculation as well.
But that employee is to cover the influx of violations and tickets, correct?
Both on the traffic side and.
Backing up just a moment to
Residential side.
586, I'm not questioning the accuracy of it, but we're closing out the year with court fines revenues projected at $184,394, which was significantly lower than our budget
Right,
of 300.
300,000.
Yep.
Now, we're increasing that this year to 284, a more reasonable goal. I take it these are traffic citations?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's it in the general fund. That's the changes in the general fund.
Okay?
We could, for 2023.
Can we take a 5-minute recess, please?
Yes.
Yeah. Move for 5-minute recess.